Yo, what's happening, y'all?
What's going on, everybody?
And we should be live with no issues right now. Got Nick back in the building. What's happening, man?
You already know. Yeah, had my fourth and final wedding and seventh overall cross-country trip this year. My travels have come to a close. My little brother got married on Sunday. It was a great time, lots of fun, lots of partying and dancing and celebrating with family. But I'm back. It's good to be back. Appreciate
Were you able to watch any of the games last week, or were you just kind of tuning in as things happened on your phone type of deal?
So they did have the NFL Network at the hotel that I was staying in.
Awesome.
Yeah, I actually went to the front desk at like 1 a.m. at the end of the after party, and I was just like, shot in the dark question for you guys. Like, any chance you guys got the NFL Network?
Yo, that's dedication, yo.
Yeah. And the girl goes, oh, yeah, we do. I was like, say that's all I need to know. Thank you. So I think I slept through the first quarter, but I woke up by like the second quarter.
Okay.
So and then I saw the 1:00 games. My flight was around 6:00. So I missed that awesome, or it looked like an awesome Sunday night game, and I missed like pretty much the majority of the 4:00 games. But saw the 1:00 games. Got my mini football fix in for the weekend.
There you go. Well, I'm glad to hear the weekend went well. I'm glad to hear everything went well with the trip out east. Glad you had fun, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for holding it down. Thanks everybody for patience. It is definitely a little bit more voluminous with one person answering questions as opposed to two. So I know John held it down. Hopefully took care of you guys. Hopefully we came away with a lot of wins.
There were a few, I don't think, at least I didn't predict Rashad Penny going off like he did. So anybody who was asking me Rashad Penny questions,
saying no to Rashad Penny. So.
I'm sorry I led you astray. But there were a few instances where I think I helped everybody. I think I helped people out. I think Rashad Penny was the biggest kind of miss that I had, but everybody had that miss. Nobody was projecting Rashad Penny to do what he did last week.
I was also off Penny, and so that would have also been a miss on my part. Learning experience. That's what we can hopefully do here is just continue to get better. Like obviously be right as significantly more often than not, but be able to take a step back and figure out why we got things incorrect as well, and that's probably the more important part of the process. But that's okay. Like I said, I would have probably also said no to Penny this past week. So I would have said no.
We advocated everybody start Jamal Williams, and he was the RB3 on the week.
He popped.
So there you go. I'm just searching through some of these of these questions. I did not foresee Dameon Pierce doing what he did, but again, I don't know if anybody did.
I think at this point he needs to just be fired up.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's not a flex. He's an RB2. I think you just need to fire him up. But we're also finally getting to the point in the season where we do have a little bit more clarity as far as consistency goes.
Absolutely.
Weeks 1 and weeks 2 are often the most difficult to predict, as far as we still have as small of a sample size we can possibly work with. Now the season, we're a month in, we're 4 weeks in, the season is starting to take some shape.
Yeah, now you can start looking back at, fantasy points against for certain defenses, and it actually means something versus, a few weeks ago it was a 1 to 2 week sample size. Now it's a 4 week sample size, and we can actually take that information and move forward and take that information and move analytically with it, instead of it just being a 1 to 2 week sample size where you're really not sure.
Right.
So, you're playing your wide receivers against the Ravens and the Commanders and the Rams. Like, that's just a thing now.
Yeah. Fire them up.
Yeah, you're playing your running backs against the Texans, the Lions, and the Chargers. That's just a thing now.
And you're playing, not that this is or this was a little bit more predictable, but you're playing literally anybody you can against Seattle.
Yes, especially tight ends, but pretty much anybody. Yes.
Anything, but yeah, anything goes against Seattle. Anything goes. You got a backup tight end.
And you're playing a lot of your Seattle players, which I was, not predicting. Nobody was projecting Geno Smith. Yeah.
Yep. You can fire up Geno Smith if you need it.
And Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Like I wasn't anticipating it being, something where there were gonna be 3 to 4 fantasy relevant players in this offense. Now you got to look at Rashad Penny. Now you got to look at DK Metcalf and Geno Smith and in 2 QB leagues and Tyler Lockett. So yeah, interesting week.
Sure. One of the things that you want to do, or that is, if you know a team is going to be bad, like we knew Seattle's not going to be very good. We knew we were expecting Atlanta to not be very good. They have 2 wins, but I still don't think they're very good. But those are the teams where now DK and Tyler Lockett are both bona fide proven players. Target those types of guys on offenses that have to offset the play of poor defenses.
This is why we were in on Davis Mills last year.
Yeah. And so
this is why we were in on Jared Goff this year. One of the reasons.
Yeah, and so I liked Goff as a depth quarterback coming in with like some loaded weapons. But yeah, DK is fine. Lockett was going off the board as the wide receiver 46 this summer. That was straight disrespectful. And
Rashad Penny being a ninth round, that's a little disrespectful at this point, based off of what we knew coming off of last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, things are starting to just kind of take shape.
Yep.
With this league year, so we can start looking back and saying, "Oh, this is a trend." When Amon-Ra St. Brown's healthy, he's getting 12 targets a game. When Deontay Johnson's healthy, he's getting 12 targets a game. When Freiermuth is healthy, he's getting 8 to 10 targets a game. And we need to talk about the Steelers.
Yeah,
it looks to be Kenny Pickett time. They just announced that he is their number 1 QB moving forward.
It is Kenny Pickett time. The offense moved better with him in the second half.
Much better.
And you have to consider that he was coming in cold. I would be willing to bet that behind closed doors, the Steelers gave Pickett an inkling that he could play this weekend.
He knew it. Even if they didn't, I think he knew it based off of what was happening with Trubisky.
And he knew it was right. He had to have known it was close. Like, he's going to say and be a good teammate and support Trubisky, who had been the starter, but like, he had to know, like, this guy's not playing well. I can get in sooner or later.
And honestly, the skill position players were probably pushing for a move like this too, within their little coaching groups.
Well, you could see Deontay Johnson's body language throughout the games the past couple weeks. He's like consistently been frustrated because he's constantly dealing with bad throws.
Look at what happened with George Pickens. And once Pickett steps into the number 1 role, as far as the signal caller for that offense, Pickens goes off and looks like a borderline completely different player.
Yeah. There's a clever Pickett to Pickens play on words in there somewhere that I can't.
I'm not smart enough for that. But Eli, what's going on? Hunter, what is going on? Travis Heath, good to have you in here. Joe Harris, same thing.
What's up, everybody? Eli, appreciate that. Yeah, little brother's officially he's off the market. Sorry, ladies.
There you go. And Hunter, the JT owner in my dynasty, desperately wants to trade him away ASAP. What are your thoughts on him for the rest of season and moving forward?
Go get him.
Yeah, why would if a owner of a top 3 dynasty running back desperately wants to get rid of that running back, capitalize on it.
Go get him.
I don't know why that owner is low on him, but capitalize.
I would say, and actually probably with a player of this caliber, you don't like mess around with timing or anything like that, but it's important at this point in the season. In the offseason, coach speak is exactly that. Coach speak, it's fluff, it's nonsense. At this point in the season, I think it's more likely that you can, on a week-to-week basis, kind of pay attention to what they're saying and actually consider it. They were talking about Philip Lindsay today, Frank Reich was. When you talk about a guy of, and no disrespect to Philip Lindsay, but when you have that conversation and you bring him up and that topic even comes up, I don't love that sign for Taylor for this week. You might be able, it's probably, again, not going to be significant, but if Taylor gets ruled out for Thursday night, you might be able to negotiate it at that point then, and that one extra piece that it might normally take might not need to be included. If the person is desperately, or, and I put in quotation, I see what you say, like desperately, like you said, trying to get rid of him, that might be the transaction that allows you to keep that extra second round pick, or, you get what I'm saying, as far as what you would have to offer. Because then the person might be like triggered, like, oh, he's out, he's not playing,
But honestly, if a JT owner is desperately trying to trade him away, I wouldn't wait the 2 days for that kind of news to come down the pike. I would be willing to offer that extra piece just to get a guy like JT on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Third-year player coming off of an RB1 season where he's had 4 weeks of 3 weeks of bad play, because that first week where he got 31 touches on the ground and 7 targets was awesome. Honestly, the team has struggled since and should go back to that way of playing. Hyper target Michael Pittman and hyper utilize JT. Now he is injured. So take this opportunity to just go after him. And honestly, I wouldn't wait for that second or third bit of news to come down the pike 2 days from now, where the buying window might be a little bit even more appetizing for you. I would just go for it, especially in a dynasty league. When are you going to get the RB1 or RB2 in dynasty at a discount?
Yeah.
Right now, by the judgment of it. I mean, he said, all right, he verbally agreed to CMC for JT, but wants to see his worth around the league first. I would, I'd be hounding him, and
yeah, go get him.
Your camera just turned off. But I would be hounding the JT owner right now if he verbally agreed to the CMC deal. I would just be like, all right, what do you need? I'll give you a future second. I'll give you a 24-second too. Let's just get this done. Because I don't want him to take another second to think about this. I want to save 2 to 3 years on an RB1 lifespan for the cost of basically a 2014 or 2024 second. That's something I'm looking to do. But good luck with that. And Travis Heath.
Yeah, go get him, Hunter.
Should I drop Chase Edmonds to clear a spot for Brian Robinson off of IR?
No. I think, as you know, I'm not only not dropping Chase Edmonds, I'm looking at Raheem Mostert on the wire if he's available.
Yeah, I want both of those guys.
I want both of those guys right now because I would say expect the Dolphins to maybe go not like ultra run heavy, but a little bit more run heavy as they wait on Tua to get back to full health. So this is not even a situation, here's my thing with this, Travis. I'm not playing Brian Robinson for another couple of weeks, and there's a good chance he's going to be. Now, he's clear. He's I think, let me make sure I have this
clear
correct.
To come off of IR for the next 21 days.
Clear to be activated, but what that means is the team has a 21-day window to activate him, to put him on the active roster. If the 21 days passes, then I think he's on IR for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Yes,
so
that is.
Don't be surprised to see Brian Robinson ruled out once again this week as he kind of works his way back. Or if he is available, if he is active on game day, which would be like a spectacular and very happy for him turnaround and development.
Absolutely.
You're not firing him up anyway. We need to see him. We need to see how he looks, right? We need to see how he's doing. And he's going to be splitting work with Gibson and JD McKissick. You can continue to stash Brian Robinson on IR as long as there's not any one other move that you're looking to make. You can afford to wait. So I would not do that. I would keep Robinson on IR for as long as I can. And then I'll worry about it. But no, I'm not dropping Chase Edmonds.
No, I'm not either. I mean, this team has been willing to kind of seesaw between these two, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, based on the game ahead of them. And if they're forced to move to a Teddy Bridgewater situation for the next 3 to 4 weeks, while they just make sure that everything's good with Tua before they force him back into game action, which honestly would be the smart thing to do, they're going to be run heavy, which means both of these guys might get work.
Yep. And Teddy Bridgewater can, dump off.
Yep. Now, my second question to go along with that, or my question in response, who else do you have to drop? Because it's clear you want to clear a spot for Brian Robinson, who is coming off the IR eventually. Who else do you have to drop? Because we're not advocating dropping Chase Edmonds. Who else is on your squad that you can possibly, just divest yourself of in order to when that Brian Robinson news comes down the pike? And Joe Harris, good evening. You have Prescott
up,
and Stafford with no IR spot. Would you guys keep rolling with Stafford or drop him for Winston, Geno, Bridgewater, Tannehill, or Pickett?
Who does Seattle get this week? It's wild that I'm even asking.
I'm still rolling with Matt Stafford. I am. I mean, he played a tough defense last week who habitually has his number, or the Rams' number. And I mean, most teams, if they're hyper targeting Cooper Kupp, the Rams are going to be fine. Most teams.
The Rams have another tough matchup this week against the Cowboys. That's not a walk in the park. It's not the 49ers, and the Rams are at home. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, there is one guy on that offense that you can start in 10-team leagues, and I'll throw Higbee in there as a guy. Like Kupp and Higbee are the only startable options on this team. And when that's the case, I don't feel great about the quarterback. Plus, this Rams offensive line is makeshift at best right now.
Yes.
I'm worried. Like, this is not an anti-Stafford take. This is the Rams offense collectively is a shell of its 2021 self. I might just pivot to Geno Smith for, and again, this is one quarterback. You can go week to week, Joe. You can go week to week. So grab Geno Smith. Hell, grab Jameis. I mean, Jameis Winston could also be grabbed. I don't know what his status is, but he's actually the one playing. He's the quarterback going up against the Seahawks this week in a game that the Saints are desperate to win at home. If Jameis is healthy against Seattle, I'll pivot off of Geno and go back to Winston, who I know is banged up. But if he's able to give it a go this week, then give me Jameis at home. We just got done saying play everybody against Seattle. Give me Jameis over Stafford this week if Jameis is healthy.
If he's healthy.
If he's healthy. If it's Andy
That's
Dalton.
That's the only person I would pivot away from. More because of the matchup than anything, because the Seattle Seahawks are averaging the 8th most points to opposing quarterbacks on the year. 23 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks averaged.
Yeah.
When going up against the Seattle Seahawks QBs.
I in Superflex, there's about a 99.9% chance you have to play Matthew Stafford. In one quarterback, I do not want to play Matthew Stafford. I don't. This Rams offense is gross right now.
Yeah, and Dallas right now is averaging 12.75 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So you can literally, on average, gain 10 fantasy points based off of what we can assume to be a decent sample size at this point on the year at the quarterback position by going to a healthy Jameis.
Yep.
So I would recommend that too.
Yep.
And since you have Prescott waiting in the wings, honestly, you can drop Stafford outright.
Yeah,
if you're picking up Winston, you can drop Stafford outright, considering you have Prescott on your bench waiting to come back into the fold. And he shouldn't be waiting that much longer, even though Cooper Rush has been pretty great filling in for him.
Yeah, yes. This is what I'm doing, Joe. I'm dropping Stafford for Winston. If Winston is out this week, I'll just go pick up Geno.
Yeah.
That's actually that's exactly what that's my thought process in that situation. That's exactly what I would do. Drop Stafford for Winston. If Winston's ruled out, just pick up Geno.
Now, Geno is going up against a defense that, like the Dallas Cowboys defense, is only averaging about 13 to 14 fantasy points a game to opposing quarterbacks. So I'm hoping you can pick up Winston and not have to go Geno, because Winston is a better than average quarterback going up against a worse than average defense for opposing quarterbacks, and that's what I want to target. So if you got to use a little bit of fab, if you got to use your waiver wire just to make your waiver claim, just to make your QB situation solidify, I would do that for Winston. If Geno is your last ditch hope, then go for it. But Winston's the guy that I'm hoping you get.
Yeah. Yep.
And Cali Loco, good to have you in here. You like the Dolphins matchups coming up, and you like Teddy Bridgewater as a streamer. Thoughts on him? What do you think?
Dolphins play the Jets this week, right?
I believe so.
I mean, look, if nothing else, I guess, and then, Joe also had Bridgewater in this list as well as potential options to pick up. I guess what I will say now, actually, I was traveling on Thursday for the Thursday night game, so I missed the Thursday night game. I obviously know what happened with Tua. I actually don't know this, guys, and I apologize. Like, what did Teddy do in relief? I know he chucked a bomb to Tyreek Hill, but it wasn't for a score. Okay, 111.
He hyper-targeted Tyreek Hill. That's what happened.
193 pass yards. What? He came in the second quarter.
Yeah.
193 pass yards, one passing score, one pick.
He looked exactly like Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
He gave us a Teddy Bridgewater line.
That is a Teddy Bridgewater game. Like 200-ish yards passing, one touchdown, a
hyper
pick.
Targeting his number one receiver and forgetting basically everybody else. That's what he does.
So this is a scenario where just because Teddy is surrounded by great weapons, I don't know if I want to play Teddy. He does have 10 days off, and he is playing the Jets. The Jets numbers the Jets pass defense numbers are a little inflated right now because they just got 3 interceptions off of a rookie in his first career game action in Kenny Pickett. So not putting it, sorry, Jets. I'm not putting a ton of stock into those 3 interceptions because one was a Hail Mary and one was Chase Bonehead Claypool dropping an easy cat, or not. It should have been easy.
It should have been easy.
Yeah, it should have been easy, but it wasn't because he's a bonehead. So not putting a ton of stock into that. So there's nothing scary about the matchup for Teddy. I guess the question is, like, who are your other options, Callie? If it's Kenny Pickett, then sure, I guess go Bridgewater. But just because Teddy's got loaded weapons, I guess it's like he's fine, but I'm not like, oh, I like this. That's not. I wouldn't say I'm there.
No, I mean, look at what Teddy Bridgewater has done throughout his career. He's been a slightly worse, or at least equitable quarterback to Jacoby Brissett, and I would rather have Jacoby Brissett now. Yeah. Honestly, like I'm not trusting in Teddy Bridgewater for pretty much anything. I know what he is.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a lot of quarterbacks that are out there in 12 to 14 team leagues. In Superflex, it's a different matter, but Teddy isn't much of a streamer for me.
Nah. Yeah. Let me know, Callie, who your other options are.
And what's going on, Sam? Is the move Algier or Huntley? It's gross, but a real situation. Which Huntley?
Not, isn't it Caleb?
Ah, okay. I was like, did something happen to Lamar that I'm not aware of?
No.
The move is Algier.
I would say so.
It's not Tyler Hunt or Caleb Huntley.
The guy looks pretty good. He's not going to get all the touches. Avery Williams is gonna mix in, but I mean, for the next month, look, if the Falcons are going to keep rolling out, you heard this on ESPN on repeat yesterday, right? If the Falcons are going to keep rolling out Marcus Mariota,
which I think they might not. I think they might be going to Desmond
Ritter
turn to Ritter
soon.
Yes,
but if they go back to Mariota for, let's say, one more week, at least, there's a better than zero chance that they go on this run where they run 10 straight running plays. They call 10 straight running plays. They did it 14 times in a row on Sunday against Cleveland.
And they're playing the Bucs this week.
They're currently scared to throw the football.
They're going to need to throw the football to keep up with the Bucs. I know the Bucs are ailing in their own right, but
they might not be able to do any keeping up in that situation.
Yeah. So maybe is Algier the move? Yes, you want him on your roster. Is he the safest bet next game, it could
Maybe
be
not.
a floor game for him. It could be a floor game for him. It could be Pitt's
on the road
London
in
game.
Tampa.
Yeah.
On the road in Tampa. We just saw the Packers running backs get kind of bottled up in the Packers matchup against Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. Packers won that game, but Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon had quiet games. You're hoping probably for an unlikely scenario where the Falcons defense somehow turns Tom Brady over. The defense gets it into the red zone, and the Falcons capitalize on a short field because it's hard for the defense to bounce back in that scenario. Like,
Absolutely.
that's a very specific scenario that you're maybe kind of hoping for with a guy like Algier. And crazier things have happened, but we're talking about, a rebuilding, team with a not good defense outside of AJ Terrell going up against Tom Brady coming off a loss. The move is Algier, I guess, but for this week, it's hard to trust either one. That being said, Algier looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting the moon from him, but he should be a serviceable RB2 with high-end RB2 upside.
Yeah.
Now, for the duration of time in which Cordarrelle Patterson is not available for the squad.
Yeah.
Alex Watts, which rookie has the best rest of season potential PPR? James Cook, Tyler Algiers, Rachaad White, or Sky Moore? For my money, it's Rachaad White based off of last week.
Yeah, I mean, so he lost a fumble, not great, but what is eye popping and what you love to see on the stat sheet is 5 catches for 50 yards.
Caught every one of his targets, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 56 total yards on the week.
Yep.
1 touchdown.
Found his way into the end zone. Yeah. I think it's pretty apparent, and maybe teams are. It's not uncommon. It's very common for teams to bring rookie running backs along slowly when they are not like this clear-cut generational prospect, right? They bring them along slowly. But we know Tom Brady loves throwing the ball to running backs, and Rachaad White had regularly been billed as the most pure pass-catching running back prospect in this draft. Breece Hall's the most complete option, or the complete play prospect. Rachaad White has been billed as like the best pass catching, or like as far as the the metrics go. Yep. He's the best pass catching option. Tom Brady loves running backs that can catch the ball. Rachaad White has a role moving forward in this offense. And again, this is still a Bucs offensive line that is still working through some injuries and kind of taking their lumps. Those situations favor pass catching backs, getting the ball out quick, right? And what's the best thing is about Rachaad White's performance is he did this with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin back in the mix.
Now, Godwin clearly wasn't himself last game, but Evans pretty much looked to be with the amount of touchdowns he scored.
Oh, Evans is fine.
And Rachaad White had a 37.3% snap share last week.
That's awesome for him. That's awesome.
Yes, I hope that he manages to maintain that role moving forward. I think it's a realistic thing to hope for. Yeah. Yes, Leonard Fournette is going to continue to get 50, 60% of snaps. But if Rachaad White can sustain a 1/3% snap share in this offense, he ran 16 routes last week. 10 more than he had all season.
There you go.
Yeah. So, if he can sustain that role, if he can take over for Gio Bernard, who is now out because I believe he got put on IR.
He's on IR, so probably for at least the next 2 or 3 games.
And you're asking rest of season potential in PPR. It's not Tyler Algier, who was on a 4-week tryout before Cordarrelle Patterson gets back. It's not James Cook, who fumbled on his first touch and then has dropped targets, and I think every single game since. Small sample size, but this is clearly not the year for James Cook. Sky Moore It's clear that this offense likes to spread the ball around in KC, and there are, 5 to 6 viable targets in this offense on a week-to-week basis. Rachaad White is the guy out of these options for rest of season PPR potential.
Yeah. Cook is in a more crowded committee. Sky Moore is behind numerous veterans on the depth chart. And Algier has an opportunity, but is not the level of talent as Rachaad White, and Rachaad White is in the best offense or the better offense between him and Algier. It's Rachaad.
Elout. Current team is Hurts, Mixon, Damian Harris, AJ Brown, Marquise Brown, David Njoku, Jalen Waddle, Matt Gay. Cowboys defense bench: DeAndre Swift, Trevor Lawrence, Devonta Freeman, Pat Freiermuth, Samaje Perine, and Brandon Ayuk. Looks like a very solid squad.
Devontae Smith.
You're hoping to move Perine and or Ayuk to get Pickens, Murray, Duvernay, or Algier. Okay.
All right.
I think that's fine.
Outgoing for Ayuk.
Moving Perine is fine, and if you're going from Ayuk to Pickens, if you're going from Ayuk to,
I don't know if I would
to Algier, that. Like if
I think I would keep Ayuk.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think you need to trade right now.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you want to trade Ayuk, and maybe like, I don't know,
Njoku,
sure, for
a better wide receiver, and then you promote Freiermuth,
or a better running back.
Yeah,
I would
too.
Say.
Yep.
But like, I wouldn't drop Ayuk. I would look to trade Ayuk to somebody who's a little bit more wide receiver needy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, he only caught 4 for
I'd rather have Ayuk than
last
Duvernay.
night.
I'd rather have Ayuk than, I mean, Pickens and Ayuk is kind of a wash for me at this point, because yes, Pickens had a great game, but can we expect him to sustain that with 2 to 3 other decent pass catchers in that offense, moving to a new quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I like Pickens. Can we expect that? I don't know. We can expect Ayuk to be one of the top 2 wide receivers, pass catchers in that offense moving forward.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I would move Ayuk for Pickens straight up.
No, only 4 targets last night, but 8 targets the week before. So he's got 12 targets in 2 games.
And the week before that,
Garoppolo. Yeah, and the week before that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not dropping Ayuk. Pirine, if you can get Pickens, if you can on the waivers, if you can get Pickens for Pirine, then yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. I would go Pickens 1 to drop Pirine. I would do Duvernay 2 to drop Pirine, and then I would do Algier 3 to drop Pirine.
Which Murray is that?
Latavius.
Is it Latavius? All right. Yeah. He's 4th.
Did get signed by the Broncos.
He's
which
4th.
Look, we were never gonna. The Broncos were always gonna bring somebody in. After
but now it's
Javonte
a 3-headed
down.
committee, and unless it's Melvin Gordon, I almost don't want any part of it.
I'm intrigued by Mike Boone, but I don't want Latavius Murray just because we knew the Broncos were going to bring somebody in. That doesn't mean we're interested in them, He's 4th on that list by a long shot. I think I'd almost rather have Pirine than Latavius. Actually, yes. I don't think. I know I would.
I would. He is the 2A.
Yeah.
For the Bengals. And
so
outside of the past, 20 games, the last 20 games, Mixon has been injury prone throughout his young career, early in his career.
Oh, wait. And you have oh crap. He has Mixon.
So the only person I'm really doing this for, the only people I'm really doing this for are Pickens and Algier.
And even then, I don't hate the idea of just kind of hanging on to Pirine because you have Mixon. What I'm looking to do, Elout, actually, if you want to, I know you said you like trading, but feel like you shouldn't. That's actually what I would do. And I wouldn't trade Pirine. I would trade some combination of Ayuk and Njoku to see if you can get a running back.
Here's what I would do. I would drop Perine for Algier. Trade Algier the second he's on your squad.
Yeah.
And package him with Njoku for an upgrade. and then go back and pick up
P.
Ryan because nobody's probably going to be prioritizing him, and you're probably going to be able to do that before next week's games start.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would move off of Perrine, get Algier, trade Algier, a lot of movement here, pick up Perrine again with the upgrade that you will have gotten from trading Algier and Njoku together for an upgrade, hopefully moving Damian Harris to your bench.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. And
Sam, yeah, hey, it happens. I'm glad you ended up picking the right guy.
He's throwing shade.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I'm glad Dubs is doing better.
Dubs looks
I'm
great.
glad Dubs picked up a touchdown last week. He's still not the number one of that offense. But I'm glad he's doing very well as a number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks good. He looks real good.
Yeah. And I would advocate starting Dubs over A-Rob for the foreseeable future.
Robinson's approaching drop time.
I was willing to go back to Robinson for one more week to see if week 2 was an aberration or not. Looks to be.
Week 2 was an aberration. There's nobody on this Rams offense you can start other than Kupp. And if you punted tight end, Higbee's perfectly fine as well.
Right.
That's it. That includes
it's almost not that Dubs is doing the most. It's that A-Rob is doing the least. So
A-Rob
I'd be willing to move off of that for at least for the foreseeable future. But I'm glad Dick steered you in the right direction, Sam. Alex, do you drop Stafford for Zach Wilson or Wentz as my QB2? You have Dak. No, I think we already.
I would pick up Zach Wilson.
Did we already give you an answer there?
No,
that was Joe Harris. My bad.
Joe was asking. There's multiple people asking, do I drop Stafford? If it's a 1-quarterback league, my answer is yes. Like I said, this Rams offense is one-dimensional right now. When a quarterback has, and Cooper Kupp is a superstar, right? One of the best receivers in the league, if not still the best receiver in the league. But he's even Cooper Kupp is not enough to elevate Stafford to weekly starter status when he's the only one doing anything. Stafford in 1-quarterback leagues is again, as long as people aren't weird in your league hoarding quarterbacks, and you do have options like Zach Wilson on the wire, absolutely, for me, without question, Stafford's a drop.
And to go to Zach Wilson, now the Dolphins have played Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in 2 of the 4 weeks that they've played. But if you look at the metrics, if you look at the analytics, they're allowing the second most points to opposing quarterbacks in the league behind only the Detroit Lions. They are averaging 26.73 points, fantasy points a game to opposing quarterbacks. Yes, next week, Zach Wilson is a streamer. Absolutely. Yeah. For next week, he is a streamer. So I would advocate
Burrow.
Yeah.
Now, they did a good job week 1 shutting down the Patriots offense, but for fantasy purposes, and my best balls will back this up as far as putting my money where my mouth is. Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Mac Jones.
Yes.
So
fantasy.
Absolutely. Absolutely, he's a streamer. And the Jets' weapons in the passing attack clear the Patriots with ease.
And I know Wentz is a garbage time god, but I am not trusting Wentz with literally, outside of the juiciest of matchups, Tennessee is giving up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks.
But give me Wilson.
I'd rather be playing the guy playing the 2nd worst defense for quarterbacks than the 7th.
Yep.
Even though as just a quarterback, I might have a little bit more faith in Carson Wentz, I'm still going Zach Wilson here.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Give me Zach in 1-quarterback as a streamer.
But Stafford has absolutely become one-dimensional.
Yep.
The Rams have become one-dimensional.
Yeah. Sean McVay has some shit to figure out.
Yeah. Yep. Rojo, good to see you, man.
You know we were with you on that, man. We were. Was that this Jamar Chase? Was that where you traded the house for Jamar Chase? And everybody shit on you. We were there. We were right there with you. Darnell Mooney in a first-round pick. That guy
get
said
out of here, bro.
Darnell Mooney
And
in
yo,
a first-round pick.
Just as an aside, I mean, love to see that red FF next to your name. Love to see the wrench there too.
That is fire. The red looks.
Yeah, I think you're the first one to
sleek.
it. No, Alex is there too. Alex is there
Alex
too.
might be there too. I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's in here today. Oh yeah, he is. There he is.
Yeah.
Oh. Hope the honeymoon was good, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the red is sleek. I like
and
it.
yes, the manager said you were dumb. Hey, rub it in his face.
That manager said he would take Darnell Mooney in a first-round pick. Just no questions asked.
Now is when you post your screenshots that we told you to take earlier on.
Yep.
Now is the time where you post those screenshots and say, hey.
I would be in that, Rojo. I'd be in that sleeper chat every goddamn Tuesday. And all I would tweet or all I would text is Darnell Mooney in a first. And I would leave it at
over
that.
and over. Yes.
Yeah, over and over
On
every
repeat.
week. Darnell Mooney in a first.
That's all, and that's all you need to say. Then step
That's all
back
you need to say. It's
and
understood.
let everybody else talk about it. But yeah.
Right. Guy needs to rethink his process.
Iron, good to see you. Callie, you lost Javonte. Ah, man, I know that's a situation that a lot of people are dealing with. Please rank these running backs, and thank you for the compliment. Tyler Algier, Mike Boone, Caleb Huntley, Mark Ingram, Latavius Murray, Philip Lindsay, Sony Michel, Deion Jackson, Samaje Perine, and Darrell Williams are available.
Again, I guess
I'm not going to rank them. I'm just going to say go after Algier.
Yeah, go get Algier.
And don't sleep on Perine.
Philip Lindsay might get a spot start tomorrow night, but I would say he will comfortably
it's a
clear
shorter term
waivers.
issue. Yeah.
Right, but he will comfortably clear waivers. If you really want to grab him in a spot start, I wouldn't advocate for it, but I would understand wanting to attack the volume and the opportunity. But Algier and then Mike Boone. I do think Mike Boone has some potential here because remember, this is not, at least with Mike Boone compared to Algier, Mike Boone now has a season-long opportunity to at least be a change of pace guy in the mix. Melvin Gordon is not going to take care of 100% of the backfield snaps. He's not, and touches. He's not going to take care of he's not going to do that. Boone should, and also Gordon needs to, now the Broncos offensive coordinator did say Gordon's going to carry the load, quote unquote, or something to that effect. But also Gordon has fumbled at a significantly high rate to start this year. He needs to clean that up and fast if they want to give him the rock as much as they say that they plan to. So to that point, Mike Boone is second here. And I would almost say it's more of like a 1A and 1B where Algier has the clear short-term appeal, but Boone rest of season has maybe more of an opportunity. Unless Patterson ends up in a situation where, injuries are tricky, the absence is longer than expected, the Falcons start losing games.
I think I would put Mike Boone first.
You hope Patterson doesn't get shut down, but if he does, then Algier would be the guy. But also, that's less of a thing that happens in football, and it's much more of a thing that happens, say in the NBA.
Denver has been dead set on not giving one running back the entire role for 2 years now, when maybe they should have. So Melvin Gordon is never going to take over the entire role here, and Mike Boone has been good in spot starts. He's had his areas where he's been all right. Yes, he's a little bit he's technically an elder statesman special teamer. He's 27 years old. But there are multiple running backs in the league that are 27 years old. And this is a guy that has only played he's played a handful of snaps every year, basically. And every single year you look at him and his yards per carry in spot work has been above 5. 2019, 5.6. 2020, 5.4. 2021, 8.8. 2022, thus far, 6.7 yards per carry. Now, that is only on 3 attempts. But he has some juice. Melvin Gordon, I do not think has juice anymore. He's just a reliable running back.
He's a steady, solid vet.
Mike Boone still has juice.
Got a little bit of a burst.
And he is a season-long asset. He's not a 4-week and then you're hoping you get RB3 value out of him for the rest of the season type of asset. I think Mike Boone is the guy to own over Tyler Algier if you're looking for a rest-of-season answer at the running back position. Hopefully he can get you low-end RB2 numbers moving forward with the upside for more.
Yep.
I think that's a possibility. I do.
Yep.
He's not a bad pass catcher. The reason why he wasn't ever featured on the Minnesota Vikings is because Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison were there. And for what it's worth, Denver identified him early on into last year and signed him as their number 3 pretty early on. So I like Mike Boone. I do. Am I spending the farm on him? Only if I need to. But I do think he is the guy to own here rest of season if you're looking for a rest of season viable running back.
I mean, you lost Javonte, Callie. If you do FOB, I would say go 40% on Boone. 45% of your FOB on Boone. I would.
And I would say just spend half of your FAB on Boone.
Yeah, spend half of it. Especially because you lost Javonte. Spend half on Boone.
Yeah.
If somebody goes 65, 70%, then all right. Fine. But I would go 45, 50%.
Yeah, I would too. And then I would play 40 on Algier.
Yeah, do both.
Like I would put 50 on Boone and 40 on Algier just so you solidify your RB2, RB3 moving forward.
Right, in this like little it's not the middle guts of the season, but we're sort of about to enter it. So
yeah.
The time where you want to start collecting some wins is upon us.
Absolutely. Iron, you hate these 2 days in a row without football. Hey, at least you have us.
Yeah, we do what we can.
Yeah. I know the Vienna Vikings they won everything, right? They're not playing no more.
Won the chip.
Yeah.
There's no more Euro football now.
But do you trade away Breece Hall and Michael Pittman for Najee Harris? Nope.
No.
And
you just said you like to, if you want to stay with Breece, then yeah, I agree. I've been calling Breece Hall a buy low candidate for a couple weeks now. I don't think you can buy low on him anymore.
You can buy low on Najee. Just don't spend Breece Hall and Pittman.
No, I want to keep Breece. I want to keep Breece Hall.
I don't want to keep Pittman.
Yeah, I want to keep Pittman too.
I don't want to sell low on Pittman.
No. Did he have a quiet game last week?
Relatively.
No, he had a good game week 3. No,
yeah, he had a quiet game this week.
Okay, I mean it's gonna happen.
The Colts look bad.
The Colts look that you can just kind of. Yeah, that's
the Colts look
not
bad.
like that's not a 1 week thing. Matt Ryan is.
He's toast.
Not looking good. Yeah, he's not looking very good.
And this was always a worry. Now we were projecting he was going to come into the Colts offense and light it up.
Yeah.
Has not been the case, and we need to readjust in week 4. Now we've seen going into week 5. We've seen the sample size. We need to readjust. He is not it.
Yeah.
So he is a quarterback kind of like Stafford, where if you were relying on him, I don't have any issues with you moving off of him for a stream of the week type. I don't. Rojo Fish, Algier season. Let's hope so.
He looks good.
And Iron, with your last comment there, I think Pickett could take a lot of goal line TDs.
I'm not gonna bank on that just because it happened twice in this game, which was, there's only so much stock I can put into one half of football when he didn't enter the game as the starter.
But it's part of his arsenal now.
Oh, sure.
And you look at struggling quarterbacks. Look at what Darnold did last year. 5 touchdowns on the ground in the first 4 games of the year. Was that, partially because, I just think that was a deficiency for him, was allowing him to run on the goal line because he wasn't confident in his arm.
Yeah.
Pickett, it could be kind of the same deal. Once he gets into the red zone and those fields get smaller, maybe he just opts to run. I don't know if he
like
can.
You said he can do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a lot of goal line touchdowns, but he is now a threat to do so, a la Daniel Jones.
Yeah. But Najee's not a bad guy to target right now as far as having had a ho-hum start to the year. And, I feel like it's fair to expect that the Steelers offense just moves better. And now somebody might be, the Najee person is probably thinking and hoping the same thing. But still, doesn't hurt to ask.
No, there are a couple of running backs that I'm actively going out and trying to get if I don't have them on my team. Alvin Kamara, surprise inactive last week. I'm trying to get him on my squad because I don't think he's inactive this week. I think it was a surprise last week. Surprised a lot of owners. Surprised me in the members-only league. I wasn't expecting it. Didn't make the change because it was the early game, and I just wasn't keyed into that. And that's on me. Hopefully that didn't happen to any of you guys. But he's a guy that I'm looking at, Kamara. Another guy that I'm looking at is Najee. And I hope after 2 weeks you were looking into Derrick Henry. Because we speculated that on this channel. We said, hey, why don't you go and
keep an eye
maybe try and trade for a Derrick Henry after that week 2 game against the Bills.
People probably weren't giving up that quickly, but also it's not a bad idea to kick the tires after a terrible performance when, immediately after somebody has a bad taste in their mouth.
But just like, it is a different situation, but just like somebody's trying to get off of having JT in a dynasty league, Hunter, people are knee-jerk reactioning, if that's a verb or whatever, to what's been happening through 4 weeks. So you can capitalize on the low totals that Najee has put up. Is he going to get much better? No, but can you get a full-time workload running back for the price that a Najee is right now? Usually not. Kamara, same deal. So instead of, knee-jerking, saying, oh, look at this Javonte injury, let me go after Melvin Gordon, maybe you should be looking at Najee Harris, one of those types. Leonard Fournette, even.
Sure.
Hasn't put together the best weeks of late, so... Yeah,
we got lots of questions and comments coming in the chat. We see everybody. We appreciate everybody coming in.
Should we speed this up a little bit?
We will get to everybody. We promise.
Yep.
We will get to everybody. So appreciate everybody's patience. But yeah, let's
F in the chat for Javonte Elout. Yeah, throw it in the chat. Throw it in the chat. Sucks.
Hopefully, positive thoughts out to Javonte for a big time recovery. It sounds like not only did he tear the LCL, ACL. Sounds like there's possible LCL damage. I hope it's not a lengthy recovery, but
sounds kind of like the J.K. Dobbins injury from last year.
It could be. So hopefully he fires as soon as next year. Sucks.
It does. Never want to see it. Never want to see it.
Especially not with a great young player like him. But yeah.
Iron, is Cooper Rush the QB1 now in Dallas? 4 games and 4 wins. No.
Yeah, no, they'll go back to Dak. But if he struggles, those whispers will become, they'll become louder, a lot louder. They will go back to Dak though when he's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean the only thing is maybe once Dak comes back, you try to get your hands in a Superflex dynasty situation. Try to get your hands on a Cooper Rush.
Right. The second he goes back to the bench.
Right. Cooper Rush is a free agent next year, so he could be a guy like a Mariota, a Mitchell Trubisky, one of these bridge quarterbacks that just gets some work on a bad team and sees what you can, see what you can do with it.
Like it's an opportunity, and on a win now team as a QB3, hey, you'll take that for 1 year.
Yeah, and you never know what happens. I mean, look at what's going on with Geno Smith.
Yeah, right.
You never know what happens with these QBs, so maybe Cooper Rush can hold on to the magic that he's been putting forth through 4 weeks this year, carry that into next year for if he does get a chance to start.
It's a good reminder that quarterbacks that have third round capital or better, whether they work out or not, there's a good chance they bounce around the league for 10 years.
Yep.
good chance.
And in super flex leagues, and especially dynasty ones,
Highly
those
valuable.
guys are valuable.
Highly
Joe
valuable.
Harris. In the same league, 12 team with no IR, you have Jameson Williams. Would you guys keep him or drop him for Landry or Pickens? And you are very welcome, man. I hope you had a great weekend as well. I would for Pickens, not Landry.
Not Landry. Landry can safely be left on the wire. Have we received an update on JMO now that we're past the first 4 games of the season? I need to look this up.
There was a report that he was, getting closer. But that's all that I saw because we got, more questions than we had in past weeks on him during the live streams that you missed out on. And it made me go and look at, all right, what is going on with Jameson Williams? Why is he being talked about so much? And apparently there was at least a good report on him prior to the week 4 games that he could be coming back sooner than later. But I would drop him for Pickens and redraft.
Looks like there might have been some update for him today. Just going to try to see if I can find out what exactly is going on here. Jameson Williams return. He could return after the week 6 bye. That's a great development for him.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping for.
I guess, who are your other wide receivers, Joe? Or did you post your whole roster earlier? I don't think you did. Might have just been the quarterbacks. Yeah. Who are your other receivers? If you're stocked, if you don't need a guy this week, I guess Pickens is fair, but JMO is a very interesting guy to give a long-term, to give a look to or to be patient on.
I mean, we like this Lions offense, but Jameson has done nothing thus far, and Pickens has.
Yeah.
And he just got a better quarterback that has more rapport with him because that's the guy that he's been practicing with. We saw it with the Jets and Joe Flacco. Garrett Wilson was practicing with the second team with Joe Flacco all throughout camp, preseason, all that. It carried on into the preseason. Pickens has been practicing with Pickett all offseason with the second team. Maybe that carries into the regular season now that Pickett is the starter. Jameson Williams, you still have to wait a few weeks. I would move to get Pickens. I love Jameson Williams, the prospect. But we've now seen incredible acrobatic catches from Pickens and in a 100-yard game from Pickens. And he looked markedly different as a receiver once Pickett came into the game. So I think I'm moving off of Jameson Williams for Pickens in redraft.
With no IR spot, sure. Sure.
And Rojo, you're going to take a stab at Zach Wilson. That offense has been pretty decent. Yeah, it has. It has.
I'm so happy about the number of times I took Corey Davis at the end of best balls this year. Holy hell.
He is a waiver priority this week.
As he should be. If you happen to have hey guys, I don't know, I haven't looked in the chat, but if it's should I drop Allen Robinson for Corey Davis? My answer is yes.
Yeah, we were looking at the target distribution moving from Joe Flacco to Zach Wilson. 7 targets last game for Corey Davis. 5 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Cool.
Yeah, the transition didn't hurt him.
And he's and just like Zach Wilson going up against the Dolphins, I mean, his number 1 target right now is Corey Davis going up against a team that has allowed the 5th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers with a total of 36 points. So, yeah, Corey Davis is trustable moving forward.
Pick up. Absolutely. Yeah, and Zach Wilson is too in 1 quarterback leagues if you didn't go, if you waited on quarterback.
Yeah. And Iron, you already know that red face mask logo looks nice. You'll get there soon enough.
Yes, sir. And if you're interested if you don't have those FF badges next to your name and you're wondering, what do I have to do to make that happen? If you like what you see from this channel and you are interested in supporting us as we continue to evolve and grow and expand, which is what we want to do.
Absolutely.
We do offer memberships. We do have memberships available for anybody who is not a member. There are details in the first link in the description of this video and all of our recent videos that break down the different levels and the perks that come with it, that come with being a member. And we'll shout out, for the duration of the season, we do have a practice squad level membership special where for 99 cents a month, you get 8 additional streams with us per month, Wednesdays and Thursdays, when we do our members only streams. So that would be the only perk you get, but 99 cents a month, I feel like that's not too bad.
Yeah, for 8 extra streams a month, especially since maybe you didn't see that happen last week because we were competing with an NFL game, but in those start-sit live streams that we have, you're competing with 30, 40 extra people. So those 2 extra live streams a week with a much lesser audience might do you good.
It'll just get you'll get your questions answered faster, most likely.
Yep. But take over. I gotta run for a quick sec. Take over. I'll be right back.
Got you. So anyway, let's keep this moving. Rojo, I think you agree about that. The Jameson, for Pickens, waiver-wire swap. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's worth it to grab Pickens now. Falcons are in first place. Can't believe they have 2 wins. I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock into that. It's good for Atlanta, squeaking out a couple of wins here. And honestly, they're not too far away from having been 3-1. They almost upset the Saints week 1. Go figure. Sorry, but also sorry about that, Rojo. Yeah. Whatever. Falcons tanking and winning the division at the same time. That's never let them know your next move, right? Senor Rojo, what's going on? Okay, so 0-4 start. Sorry to hear it, but it ain't over till it's over, right? 1 week at a time. Burrow, Mixon, Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Robinson, Renfro, Hopkins. So you're waiting on Hopkins at this point. And Keenan Allen. All right. So you've just had some bad luck with the wide receivers. Man, I think I would... you just need Keenan Allen to come back healthy. I don't know if Allen is slated to come back this week. Let me check on that really quick to see if there has been an update on Keenan Allen. He's considered day-to-day. Okay. Sounds like he's progressing. I wouldn't hit the panic button, but that being said, since you're 0-4 and you need, if there are guys on the wire who you feel like have more recently contributed or maybe closer to potentially starting for you than guys like Robinson and Renfro, then drop those players. Allen Robinson has reached drop territory if you need a wide receiver. If there's another wide receiver who has just flat out been more consistent and productive on the wire, pick that guy up.
Yeah.
Pick him up.
Yep.
Whether it's Corey Davis.
Alec Pierce, you can drop Alec Pierce and redraft.
Yeah, you can drop Pierce.
I'm just looking at the squad. No, I wouldn't hit the panic button.
No, it's 1 week
Burrow,
at a
Mixon,
time.
Hall, Lamb. Yeah, you don't have a lot of faith in Allen Robinson, but Hopkins comes back week 7. Keenan Allen comes back soon. You're going to be benching those guys, Allen Robinson and Renfro, and they become your bench wide receivers sooner than later. You're 0-4. You need a turnaround. That turnaround might be on your own roster already.
Yeah, you can fire up Robert Woods against Washington this week in a situation where you kind of just need a wide receiver if Keenan Allen has to miss another week. Your running backs are fine. I know Mixon's been... he scored a touchdown on Thursday, so he's not going anywhere. Decent depth. I wouldn't drop Pacheco. I wouldn't drop Rashad White. I wouldn't drop Eno Benjamin. No, I think you're all right. I think Robinson and I'll even say Renfro are safe drops. If you want to
just make a move, if you're just itching to make a move, because I know that is I'm 0-4 in a league where I feel like I shouldn't be, and I'm looking to just make a move. Then I would do package Hall with Pacheco, who had a good game last week, with Rashad White, who had a good game last week, and see if you can upgrade to the next tier from Hall. Now, Hall might get there himself eventually. He might just start performing better later on into the year, get more of the full reins of that backfield, and it won't be so, Michael Carter centric.
Yeah.
But if you want to force the issue, if you're looking at your 4-0 team and being like, yo, I should be better than this, let me just make a move to make myself better right now. Maybe move Hall and a White, Hall and a Pacheco, Hall and Eno Benjamin to the James Conner owner, and see if you can pick up a running back upgrade for week 5. But Keenan Allen, Hopkins coming back, and within the next 2 weeks, Bobby Trees is the number 1 there, with Treylon Burks a little bit hobbled. He's a play right now. Better days are to come from this team. I'm sorry you're having some bad luck. Better days are on the horizon.
We're taking this one day at a time, or 1 week at a time, right?
Yep. J Dubs, Latavius Murray considered an RB1? No, he is an RB3.
He is. You can safely leave him on the wire in 10 and 12 team leagues.
He is an RB3 for however long Kamara is out, which really could be a week 1 injury or a 1 week injury.
He signed with the Broncos, right?
Oh, did he?
Latavius signed with the Broncos.
Still an RB3.
Yeah. Maybe closer to an opportunity. Of course, Alvin Kamara clears Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone from a talent perspective, but this is a depth. This is a signing the Broncos were hoping they wouldn't have to make. This is an emergency signing. I'm not putting a ton of stock in Latavius Murray having a fantasy impact outside of your random game here and there, like maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 3 times this year, maybe. I want Mike Boone before I want Latavius Murray.
Yes. Yep. Agreed.
Who has been with the team and is younger, fresher legs.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gits, what's happening, man? What do I do with JT, and do I sell high on Hawkinson?
You hold on JT. You hold on him.
Absolutely.
Even if he's out this week, even if you are like, I need a running back without him, you hold JT, because you're going to get pennies on the dollar right now, relatively speaking, for what was probably the first, if not the second overall pick in your draft. Hold.
Now, do you sell high on Hawkinson? I think you do.
I'm fine with that.
He is the tight end 3 right now by total fantasy points in PPR through 4 weeks.
40 burger,
you
or
capitalize
30
on that.
or whatever this past week.
If you can move off of him and pick up a Freiermuth Plus, who is the TE8 on the year and who has been getting consistent targets and just got a QB upgrade, I would do that. If you can move off of Hawkinson and get, I wouldn't do it for Conklin Plus, but Freiermuth Plus, absolutely. Everett Plus, I would. Yes, it was a very encouraging what TJ Hawkinson did, but it is also very clear they do not intend to treat him like they did last week when Amon-Ra St. Brown is in the fold, and we have the specter of Jameson Williams coming back into the fold as well. So I truly think that for Hawkinson, it's a for however long Amon-Ra St. Brown is out type situation, and I would capitalize on that because there are guys that are in better situations with like equitable QE play where the offense just treats them more like a week-to-week option versus let's funnel targets to this guy because our top 2 playmakers are out in Amon-Ra and Swift. I have no issue selling high on Hawkinson in season long.
Yep.
P. Diddy, Papa Diddy, Puff. What do you guys think about Melvin Gordon? Is he worth? What is he worth in Dynasty right now, full PPR?
A 2nd round pick
in 24. I don't know if I would do it for 23 unless I'm a contender.
If I'm a contender
and I just lost Javonte.
You can ask for a 2023 2nd round pick right now. And if you don't, if you're a contender and maybe your running back depth is good but not spectacular, then just keep Melvin Gordon. But if you're like, I don't need Melvin Gordon, but somebody else could.
If he all of a sudden becomes your,
Now's the time to
viable
strike.
running back, but he was always your 5th or 6th option.
You can ask for it. I would ask for a 2023 second.
Yeah.
I would.
I might ask for more than that to start.
Depends on the situation, but sure. It's probably not going to happen. He's 29 now, right?
Like, give me your 23 second and a running back that was of equitable value to Melvin Gordon before the Javonte injury. In Dynasty, at least.
Sure.
Something like that.
Like a Chase Edmonds.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Hell, see if you can get a second and even like a James Cook, who at least has a long-term outlook in Dynasty. It's just a longer rope than Melvin Gordon.
And he has not been performing through 4 weeks, so the owner might. And this is exactly what we were talking about with James Cook. When the draft happened, everybody was super high on James Cook, 2nd-round pick going to the Bills. Oh, look at this! Look what he's projected to be. Could be their Kamara. Could be their Eckler. Whoa! Now is the time that and we speculated this. He's not gonna fire through 4 weeks, through 6 weeks in redraft leagues, or into the 2022 season. Then you capitalize on getting him on your squad. And then in year 2 is when you expect him to fire. Yeah. So yeah, perfect time to go and get a James Cook in your dynasty leagues.
Sure. Or like a Sky Moore and a pick and a 2nd-round pick for Melvin Gordon, who salute Melvin Gordon. He's had a rock solid career, but he's 29. He's in a great situation right now, but if you don't need him in dynasty, now's the time to get that young underperforming piece plus solid draft capital.
And if you have to only, spend a second plus Melvin Gordon to get a guy like Dameon Pierce, that's the other move that you could do. Even if Melvin Gordon is, but if Dameon Pierce is at least a 1st-round pick, right?
Yes.
So if you can move a 23-second plus Melvin Gordon to get Dameon Pierce, if you can pull it off, and I think there are dynasty leagues in which you might be able to. That's a move that I'd be looking to do too. So he's not just a sell for a second plus. He's you add a second to him to upgrade to a younger player as well.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. Gets rate my team 12 team 75-point PPR, 3 wide receiver league. Geno, JT, Dobbins, Kupp, Evans, Moore, Hawkinson, Myers, and your bench is pretty bad.
You could trade Hawkinson for Fryer, like John said, like Freiermuth and another receiver. If you don't like your bench, and Elijah Moore hasn't exactly fired the way that we were hoping based on his draft capital, it's like sell high on Hawkinson for Freiermuth and a good receiver or something like that. Yeah.
And move Elijah Moore off of your starter spot,
or Hawkinson and Elijah Moore for an upgrade at tight end. Maybe try to look. It's a shot in the dark. It's probably not going to happen, but see it your league mates better than we do. Could you throw in Hawkinson and Elijah Moore, or for screw it? Mark Andrews is just coming off of a dud of a game. Try it. See what happens. Did the person who has Mark Andrews just lose this week? Are they frustrated? Are they annoyed?
Now, as far as rating your squad, Geno isn't the optimal quarterback, but he's serviceable. And if you're streaming quarterback, that's fine. JT might not play this week. Dobbins has obviously needed to get ramped up and isn't quite there yet. Kupp has been everything for his offense. It's good to have Evans. It's good to have Evans back, because you had to deal with a suspension for Evans 2 weeks ago. As far as rating this team, I think it's a middle of the pack team with some very good options on it. JT, Kupp, love them. But yeah, if you can move off of a tight end 3 Hawkinson, pick up Freiermuth plus, maybe find a way to move Elijah Moore off of your starting roster, your team will look a lot better. Will it ever look top tier? I do not think so, because you're relying on guys like Geno Smith right now. But if you ever looked into a quarterback that is a rest of season top 10 option, this team would look pretty good, especially if you do make that Hawkinson move.
And Dobbins, I think, Dobbins is ready. He can safely be fired back up into lineups.
And
so
as soon as JT
good.
is ready, I mean, the 1-2 combo of JT and Dobbins, great. You got Kupp and Evans, great. Yeah, it's not a bad team. It's just you are deficient in places.
The wide receiver 3 is unfortunately right now hurt.
And flex. I mean, relying on Myers. I like Myers. He is injured, and now you got the combination of Hoyer and Zappy to deal with.
Yeah.
Is Jones coming back this
Zappy
week?
No, I think it might be Zappy for a week.
Yeah, so I mean,
Hoyer's in the concussion protocol.
Could be tough for another week, but I do like this squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
ML is Ayuk is still a smash later this year. Definitely not trading or dropping him for Pickens.
No, I'm not. Yeah,
I would
agree.
I would
I'm
agree.
not dropping Ayuk for Pickens,
especially since Jimmy G is their quarterback now.
Yeah, no, I like Ayuk. But as far as Denver getting Kareem Hunt or one of these guys in trade, I mean, here's the problem: the Broncos traded all their draft capital for Russell Wilson. I mean, do they have? I mean, I guess they could try to throw a 4th round or a 5th round pick. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like Kareem Hunt's going to cost a 1st. Holy hell. Can you imagine? Yeah, you could. You could. But also, does Cleveland want to do that? I think at this point, Cleveland doesn't want to do that. They don't want to trade Kareem Hunt. I know they're only 2-2, but Cleveland feels like they just need to tread water until Watson comes back, and I guarantee they feel like they can make a run. Kareem Hunt helps them this year do that. A draft pick doesn't.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones. Even in your situation, if I'm the Broncos, where I'm like, crap, I don't have Javonte anymore, I still don't want to trade for Ronald Jones. I'll sign a random guy off.
No, and with them not having the draft capital to really go out and make a trade, I think they make a deal to get Devonta Freeman back on the squad. They obviously made a deal to get Latavius Murray on the squad, but I think they're a team that's destined to get Carlos Hyde, Peyton Barber, Wayne Gallman, Alex Collins, Jalen Richard, one of these guys that they're sitting on their couch right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're making a draft pick move, especially with the direction that this franchise is looking at right now with Russell Wilson that isn't putting it together right now.
Yeah.
If they were undefeated and they lost Javonte Williams, I think then they'd be more apt to go out and move real draft capital to get a running back that they trusted. Right now, in a loaded conference with how they're playing, I think they got to be realistic.
Yeah.
And this year just ain't it for them.
Yeah.
So that might be a year. That might be something that they do next season to replace Melvin Gordon, who is a free agent after this year. And then they roll with Javonte and Kareem Hunt or something like that. That I could see.
I'll tell you right now, Denver's going to draft a running back.
They should in a running back heavy draft. Yeah, they should.
Whoever they draft is going to have appeal even with Javonte coming back healthy.
Melvin Gordon like appeal. Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit more if Javonte's like slowly working his way back. Yeah.
And Alex,
yes, Rachaad White is a priority over Boone, and Rachaad White should already be on a roster. So, yes, if you can get him, get Rachaad White. Absolutely over Mike Boone. Absolutely.
Better offense. You love the role that he's going to be playing.
Better offense. Better player. Yeah. Just
honestly, he looks like the guy that's going to be their James White in this offense. Yeah. Doesn't look like that's going to be Leonard Fournette's role where he was getting 7 to 8 targets like he was last year. Rachaad White is going to be eating into that target total weekly at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Eel out. Glad we could help. Alex, I hope you had fun on your honeymoon, man.
Hey,
Cancun sounds
how was
real
Cancun,
fun.
Man, that sounds dope. But yeah, welcome back.
Absolutely, man.
Hopefully good time.
Take their victory lap. Take the
Ro.
victory lap, Rojo. Do it.
Darnell Mooney in a first.
That's still crazy to me. Look at what Darnell Mooney is doing right now. Oh, man.
Maybe not totally his fault, but holy hell, that
It's
was
not
a
his
bad
fault at all, but
that was a bad take at the time. Like, that was a bad take at the time. Now it looks like that thing aged like milk.
Yeah, take advantage of that.
Aged like milk.
Yeah. Fabian, good to see you in here. What's going on, man? Thoughts on Perrine? Saw some fans saying he looks better than Mixon. I saw some fans saying that too.
I mean, if you have Mixon, then sure, I want to stash him, but I'm not sweating Joe Mixon. Again, I do not allow myself to get caught up in snaps and touches from a Thursday night game. Yes, in a Thursday night game, even on a short week, you have to fire up your studs. Joe Mixon is a stud. You have no choice. But running backs, especially, are going to mix in, pun intended, more on short weeks, on Thursday nights. And I put zero stock into that. It's no disrespect to the backup. It's just that it's the smart move, rotating more players into the backfield at a highly volatile position to begin with. I actually appreciate it.
And he did most of his work, Samaje did this year in that Jets game. 9 rushes, 47 yards, 5.2 yards per carry, and 2 receptions, one of which was a touchdown. Great job. In that Miami game, he did nothing.
Yeah.
Perrine has always been a better running back than we gave him credit for.
Yeah.
It was never going to be Chris Evans in this offense this year. But to say he's looking better than Mixon is somebody
Mixon's
trying to look smarter than they are.
Yeah, no. Mixon's the guy. If I have Mixon, then sure. If I can find an end of bench spot for P Ryan, then yes, I'm gonna do it.
Just like you want Madison if you have Cook. Just like you want Jalen Warren if you have Najee.
Yeah, but I'm not going out of my way to grab him if I don't have Mixon.
And you just lost Javonte. Bad luck, man. Sorry to hear that.
Okay, so you're looking to get Boone. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, go get Boone if you can. He looks like he's not going to be he's not going to be anything more than just a bench stash for now, most likely. But
why does it matter?
That's not going to stay the same.
Yeah, but why? But as to your question, why does it matter that you used to have Javonte when looking at getting Boone? You just lost a guy that you probably drafted in the 3rd round to be a stalwart for you, either at RB1 if you went 2 wide receiver heavy in the first 2 rounds, or as your RB2 if you went RB wide receiver or something like that. You need to solidify that RB2 spot, RB1 spot, depending on where you had him. So it matters to you when looking at Boone that you lost Javonte, because you need to fill in a spot. And unless you drafted impeccably in the late rounds and picked up CEH, Antonio Gibson, Josh Jacobs, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Sanders, one of those guys, unless you drafted one of those guys late, your team is probably deficient right now with no Javonte. So it matters more to get Boone so that it lessens the hit that you take to your overall team makeup since you drafted Javonte early. So that's why it matters that you used to have Javonte when looking to get Boone. It means a little bit more to you versus somebody who went the other way, whose running backs are all healthy, and is just looking to pick up another depth option.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you lost Javonte, make it a priority to get Boone. Make it a priority to get Rachaad White. Make it a priority to get Tyler Algier for the next 4 weeks.
Yep.
J-Dubs, Matty Ice Cube, I like that.
Yeah, he's it's not good right now. And the modern dog, do not trade Pittman for Harris just because you lost Javonte. Look to trade for a running back? Sure, no problem. That's not a move I'm trying to make.
For Najee Harris? I think it's Pittman for Damian doesn't make sense. Pittman for Najee makes sense, which is why it makes me think this is what he's looking at.
Yeah, if you can do Pittman for Najee, sorry,
I would do that. If you can do Pittman for Najee, depending on how your wide receiver core looks moving forward, I would do that.
Yep.
If it's Damian, no.
But Najee, I would do that. Actually, regardless of your other wide receivers, I would do that.
And regardless of if you can make that trade happen or not, go out and get Jaylen Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's available.
And J-Dubs, Pitts and Claypool aren't it either.
No. Well, Claypool, man, Claypool is just a flat-out disappointment. Pitts.
I need to see one more week. I need to see him with Pickett playing for an entire week before I'm all the way off Claypool.
Yeah.
With Pitts, I'm not off him.
No, I'm not off him. It's hard to be off him when you drafted him as high as you did.
Right, and I think they're playing the Bucks this week, right?
They are.
So they might need him this week, and they went back to him more often than not last week. Finally gave him a box score that you were most likely not disappointed with last week.
Pitts you weren't happy with last week.
What did he do? I thought he did better than he did in the past.
He had a good week 3. You might be thinking of week 3 when he had 5 for 87. Okay. Last week he had 1 for 25.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Very, very, very not good. Very not good. Yeah, Pitts is killing people right now outside of week 3 where he had a decent week having, I think it was like 5 for 87 or something like that. Week 4 was bad. 1 for 25.
The solace you can take, and if you draft Pitts, is outside of Kelsey and Andrews, pretty much nobody is doing a ton of work.
Well, Ty Conklin and Gerald Everett are doing pretty good.
Yeah, but out of the guys that you drafted early, yes, Hawkinson, after a monster week where he almost put up 40 points, now he's tight end 3. Before last week, he was tight end 20-something, or maybe tight end 18, something like that. I mean, outside of really Pitts, Andrews, Kelsey, Andrews. You're disappointed in Pitts. You're kind of disappointed in Waller if you have him.
You're absolutely.
You're disappointed in Knox. You're disappointed in a lot of tight ends. It hasn't been a great year for tight ends.
Yeah, Goddard's been okay. Freiermuth's been good.
Freiermuth's been my target.
Freiermuth's been good.
He is quietly my target at tight end in any format. Yeah, Dynasty, redraft, whatever. I was not in on him, and I maybe should have been. He is a reliable target. Right now, I think he's the tight end 6 on the year.
Yeah, he's been rock solid. I mean, with Pitts, you just got to keep going back to the well. And it's possible that maybe it's even likely that when the Falcons turn to Ritter, because Mariota ain't it, that Pitts' chances actually go up. Because for whatever reason, Mariota, who I had pegged as the type of guy to hyper target a tight end based on his track record, he's just not doing it.
Well, he's hyper targeting Drake London.
He's targeting Drake London, yeah.
Which is great for you London owners.
Great
but
for Drake London.
For Pitts, and I don't know if that, the questions were always going to be there. Can any quarterback for this offense sustain more than one playmaker? The answer is no at this point. No. And the answer in terms of which playmaker you should have opted for, it's Drake London over Pitts. This is a buy window for Pitts in every format. Because I do think he's going to have better days.
Mm-hmm.
Because the coaching staff knows they need to do better. It's not just us looking at the fantasy box scores saying we need more from Pitts. In terms of Claypool, I want to see it one more week with the quarterback upgrade to see what it is. He missed out on what should have been an easy touchdown last week, which would have made his box score look a whole lot better. instead of literally a 0 on 2 receptions. If he puts up a touchdown, he's at least at 7, 8, something like that in PPR, half PPR. One more week.
Yep, one more week.
But I'm not giving up on Pitts. Pitts is honestly he's a target
too good for him for them to continuously not get him involved. Figure it out, especially now without Cordero Patterson. Like, come on.
Absolutely, yeah. Now's the time. Now is the time for him.
Get your stud involved, who you drafted 4th overall. Get him involved.
And Quinn, hey, love it. Love to hear it.
Appreciate it, Quinn. Always good to see you, man.
Absolutely. Cameron B. What are your thoughts on starting Amari Cooper, wide receiver 2, David Njoku, tight end, and Kareem Hunt, flex? Your benches, Ayuk, Hines, Knox, Rondale Moore, Alexander Madison, and KJ Osborne. Concerned with starting 3 Browns?
Sure, that's fair. It can be highly volatile, putting all your eggs in one basket.
But you're not sitting on Amari Cooper.
No, you got to play Amari Cooper, even though he's going to see J.C. Jackson this week. But you're going back to the well. They're at home. And they lost, so a little bit more motivation. I'm playing Amari Cooper. I'm playing Njoku too. I don't see. Oh, you have Knox.
5 for 73 though. I'm not sitting Njoku for Knox at this point.
No, I will say though, Knox for me is a guy that you could maybe try to get for peanuts right now, considering Isaiah McKenzie is out with the head injury, and Jamison Crowder's out indefinitely. What did he do? Break his foot or his ankle?
Yeah, and the Bills just ponied up a large amount of money to keep Knox on their squad for exactly this type of situation.
Right. So
the point with Knox was never that he was going to be a hyper-targeted tight end. The point was that when you are down options in the pass game, he becomes a weapon for you. When Gabe Davis can't be relied upon because he's hobbled. When Jamison Crowder and Isaiah McKenzie are, questionable right now at best. This is the time where Knox should shine. So, yeah, I would go out and get Knox, but I wouldn't start him in place of Njoku. And outside of your, on your bench, the only person that I'd be willing to play here is Ayuk over Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to consolidate that a little bit, I wouldn't hate that, but I also know that Kareem Hunt comes with 2 touchdown upside, so it's hard to sit him as well. So you might just have to eat starting 3 Browns.
If JT is out tomorrow night, I will say I don't hate the idea of spot starting Hines. If you're sitting here like, I just don't want to play 3 guys on the same team, move Hines to your RB2 spot. If Jonathan Taylor's out tomorrow night, whoever's in your RB2 spot, move them to your flex, right? We don't play Thursday night players in the flex. That's not allowed. If JT is out tomorrow night, Cameron, or Thursday night, excuse me, move if you and you don't like the fact that you're playing 3 Browns. Put Hines in your RB2 spot. Put your RB2 in your flex, and if anything happens to your RB2 between now and Sunday, you still have Kareem Hunt to turn to if you need him.
Now, am I expecting a ton from Hines? No.
No, but with no Taylor and on the road.
Yeah, there are worse flex options to run out there, especially if you're worried about starting Hines. 3 Browns.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Hines, but if you're sitting here and you're just like, I just don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, if Jonathan Taylor's out Thursday night, then you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket.
Now, they're playing the Chargers, which means Amari Cooper should get a decent amount of play, and David Njoku should need to be utilized in this offense to keep up with the Chargers.
Yeah. And Chargers are giving a lot up to running backs.
But this leads me to think that it is more of a Kareem Hunt game than a just straight-up Nick Chubb game, playing the Chargers.
Man, Nick Chubb's off to such a good start.
He's the RB1 right now, overall.
Yeah. You have to keep giving him the rock.
You do.
You have to. He's on fire right now.
He is. I
He's
can't even.
On fire right now.
I can't even dispute that.
That being said, I mean, the Chargers are giving up lots of points to running backs, so that bodes well for Kareem Hunt as well. And the Browns could find themselves in a situation where they need to score points against a good offense.
And yes, he's getting 46, 44, and 49% of snaps through weeks 2 to week 4. Hasn't eclipsed more than 8.4 half PPR fantasy points, Kareem Hunt. But he is overdue for one of those Kareem Hunt games.
Outside of week 1. He had a week 1 Kareem Hunt game, but yeah, he's due.
Yeah.
And at home, against a defense that is struggling to stop the run.
His usage hasn't gone down any. Still getting around 10, 11, 12 rushes
Fire up
and
Browns,
3 and 4
Cameron.
receiving. I think in this game, it could be a game where you see a little bit more Kareem Hunt. This is a game where I want to, if I'm in your position, start 3 Browns.
Yeah.
I do.
Certainly can.
So I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Yep.
The Browns last week were playing the Falcons. They didn't need an explosive offense to, try to win. And
Well,
they
did. They should have.
Yes.
Because they didn't win the game.
But you know what I mean.
Didn't win the game.
You know what I mean.
Have. Yeah. Just, I don't know.
This is a game script with those 3 players. I'm not shying away from playing at least.
Yeah.
Iron, would you trade away Bateman and Gibson for Kamara in Dynasty?
No, sir.
No.
No. Not in Dynasty.
Not for a 27-year-old running back who is going to be dealing with legal issues next season.
Yep. And a bad offense.
And isn't currently healthy right now. I'm all for trading for Kamara, not trading away a 23-year-old wide receiver who has, he has underperformed through 4 weeks.
He's been boom bust.
And Gibson, who has performed like a RB, he's the RB13 on the year right now.
Right. He's, low end RB1, high end RB2. That could be more, low RB2-ish or middle of the pack to low end RB2 with Brian Robinson returning, but he's proven he deserves a role.
Yeah.
And he's 3 years younger. He's 3 years younger than Kamara.
And honestly, Antonio Gibson, it's not like he's been dominating snaps in that offense. 44% of snaps week 3, 41% of snaps week 4. Still got 12 and 13 rushes in back-to-back weeks and 3 targets last week. Is it the 8 that he got in week 1 where he scored 16 fantasy points in half PPR? No. But it's still, viable RB2 value.
Yep.
And I don't expect that to change that much when Brian Robinson comes back, because what are they going to do? Limit his snaps even more? What does he get down to 33% of snaps? I don't see that. I think he's living where he's going to be at for the rest of the year. I'm not trading away either of those guys straight up for Kamara.
Yep. Agreed.
Joe, your other wide receivers are Pittman, Hill, Gabe Davis, and Lazard. In full PPR, 3 wide receivers set up.
And this was the
Excuse me.
Oh, do you drop Jameson Williams for Pickens? Yeah, I would do it. Tyreek gets a bit of a downgrade right now going to Bridgewater, although he did get hyper targeted on Thursday night.
Until Gabe Davis shows us something, you can't trust him hobbled.
Oh, I'm going back to the well one more week with Gabe at home, as long as the conditions, remember with Gabe, ankle injury that he picked up weirdly in practice, had to miss week 2. Week 3, it was probably still bothering him, had a bad week. Week 4, don't know if it's still bothering him. Bad weather conditions. The passing offense for the Bills wasn't firing the way that they usually do. Let's just chalk it up to a string of weird weeks for Gabe Davis. If the conditions go back to normal and Gabe is now, further and further removed from the ankle injury, remember, Gabe is still playing 95% of the snaps. I'm going back to the well with Gabe one more week, especially at home.
It's been tough with him, but if you look at the advanced metrics on Gabe Davis, he is the number 1 wide receiver in terms of target accuracy. He's getting the best targets in the league right now.
Yeah,
in terms of an accuracy perspective. Target quality, number 2. Catchable target rate, number 1. Route participation, number 1. He's been in on 100% of the routes. You can't get much better than that. It hasn't gone his way, but the injury hasn't kept him from being out on the field. It has been tough with him through 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, of course. He fired week 1, and then he's been, for fantasy purposes, he's been useless for 3 straight weeks. There's no doubt about that. I am going back to the well with him for 1 more week. Like Gabe Davis or Alan Lazard, the answer is Gabe Davis for 1 more week.
Could be tough if he is still a little bit hobbled, but by week 6, they're playing the Chiefs. You know Gabe's going to get up for that one. I'm not fading Gabe at all season long. It just has been a tough stretch for him. But Lazard looks like the number 1 in Green Bay. I know Dubs is getting all of the
I know.
hype.
Let's put it this way. The Bills have a week 7 bye. If there was really any concern about Gabe Davis's ankle injury, they would hold him out till then.
True.
Because we're not far away from it.
But Lazard, the last 2 weeks, 90 and 96 snap percentage, 12 points in week 3, 14 points in week 4. Targets have increased in back-to-back weeks. Lazard looks good. Lazard, that is the exact totals that we're looking for from a Gabe Davis. I have no issues playing Lazard over Gabe Davis for week 5. For week 6, I wouldn't go there. But for week 5, until we see a healthy Gabe Davis, Lazard has been better. Playing with a great quarterback in his own right.
He's been better. But I'm going back to the well with Gabe for 1 more week. Anyway, I think we created a start-sit question on our own that wasn't asked.
Yes.
I would pick up Pickens to drop J-Mo, given that situation. I would.
Joe Scheffler, you traded Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, I believe that's the Cooks that you're talking about, and Miles Sanders for JT. You have Justin Jefferson and Michael Thomas at wide receiver. Aaron Jones is my other running back. Good or bad trade?
Lots to give up. I don't hate moving off of Keenan Allen. Although it is still early enough in the season where he could remind us, like, oh, he's still a low-end wide receiver.
I expect him to.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks has been, it's Brandon Cooks. He's up and down, right? He has his big weeks. He has his quiet weeks. Last week was a big week. But he can give you some steady, at least as far as the season goes, some steady wide receiver 2 production. Week to week, he can be a little frustrating, but also he can give you, 20 half PPR points. Sanders is on a tear right now and is running behind the best offensive line in the NFL. The Eagles have the best offensive line in the NFL, which leads me to believe that as long as health doesn't become an issue, which, in the NFL, it can on just one play.
Especially with Sanders.
Right. And linemen, too. And linemen. Sure. The narrative can change at the drop of a hat. But right now, the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. They probably have the deepest offensive line in the NFL as well. And Sanders is firing as a result. Taylor is off to a lackluster start after week 1. I think he gave up a lot. I probably would have asked for another piece. And I would have argued, well, Taylor is not playing well right now, and it's possibly misses this Thursday night game. I probably would have argued for another piece. That being said, I see why you would want to sell high on Sanders and move off of some older wide receivers like Allen and Cooks for a guy who went in the top 2 of every single one quarterback redraft draft. So I don't hate it. I'm not crazy about giving up as much as you did, but if that's what it takes to swing for the fences and get what we expect to still be a top 5 running back for the season, I don't hate it. I don't love 3-for-1s, but at least you got a guy who has the upside of an overall RB1 finish.
I don't like this trade.
It is a lot to give up.
Sanders is the RB8 through 4 weeks. Can we expect that to continue? Probably not, but he is performing like an RB1 right now.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you gave up wide receiver 2, who Yes, he might have been performing more like a wide receiver 3 through 3 weeks, but last week he got a little bit back on track.
Looks fired last week. Yep.
It hasn't because Brandon Cooks has lost a step. This offense just looks bad with Davis Mills at the helm, which we predicted. And Keenan Allen has been nothing but a wide receiver 1 when healthy. You're trading low on Keenan Allen. So with the caliber of these players, the way that Sanders is playing right now, how much of a jump did you make from somebody who is the RB8 to somebody you're hoping will be a top 3 running back while giving up 2, at the very least, wide receiver 2s? When, yes, you have Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas hasn't been healthy. Had a great week 1, had a very good week 2. He hasn't been healthy.
Now he's not healthy, yeah.
So I don't know if I would have done that.
I guess it depends on who your other depth wide receivers are.
Well, I mean, you gave up two of your best ones.
Probably.
In what may end up being more of a lateral move than the names involved might suggest.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't love it. If I'm trading Keenan Allen, I'm trading him when he's healthy, because I don't want to trade low on anybody. Cooks, I'm trading him after, I don't know if I've been such a big fan of Cooks. I don't know if I'm trading him, even after 2 bad weeks in a 3-week span.
Yeah.
And Sanders, that's found money. It's just, this one's a little rough for me. It seems like you're making a trade so people will look at your squad and it might be a little bit scarier for them projections-wise.
On paper.
But I think that your team might have been better keeping the players you traded away.
Yeah.
It's my only concern, but I hope that trade works out for you. And only you know your entire squad in the direction that you want to go. So I hope it works out. It was just giving up a lot.
It is a lot.
Nemo, good to see you,
What's
man.
up, Nemo?
Gus Edwards, worth an ad. Missed the entire stream. You're sad.
Hey, we're back together, like you said. So there's more streams to come.
Absolutely. In terms of Gus Edwards worth an ad, I don't know, man.
Probably not. Dobbins looks like he's fine. Dobbins, and look, it did take. He capitalized on a short. Allen threw an early interception, right? And Dobbins ended up getting a very short field, capitalized on a touchdown. Good. And then he caught another touchdown again right on the goal line. I think that was a short field that the Ravens capitalized on as well. Did Allen have 2 interceptions in this game, or did they turn the ball over a couple of times? The Bills did early in this game. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, it was a rough early start to the game, and then they came back
for the
later
Bills.
on. Yep.
Bad start for the Bills. Dobbins capitalized on some short fields. Didn't do a ton otherwise, but again, we're talking about one of the best defenses in the league. I think Dobbins can safely be fired up again and looks good. Gus, depending on who your other options are, if you grabbed Dontrell Hilliard and you just want to pivot off of a different, from week 1 or whatever, and you just want to pivot off somebody different, then I guess so, sure, fine. But I don't know. Is Pacheco out there? He might be available. I'd rather have him than Gus.
Yeah, I know Mike Davis hasn't done much. I know there are Kenyon Drake too, right? I think if anything were to happen to Dobbins at this point with a banged up Justice Hill, who they were willing to go with as basically their de facto number 1, even with Drake healthy, even with Davis in the fold. I think it just gets messy behind J.K. Dobbins. And if J.K. Dobbins were to struggle or to go down again or anything like that, which we are not predicting, I think it would be just the ugliest committee we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gus Edwards can regain even the lock for 700 yards rushing that he was prior to his age 27 season. You have to remember Gus Edwards is older now, coming off of an injury for a running back.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I don't think he's worth an ad. There are better running backs to go after. If you missed the early part of the stream, Mike Boone is one of those guys. Tyler Algier is one of those guys. Rashad White is one of those guys. Even Brian Robinson is one of those guys I would rather have than Gus Edwards.
Yeah. He's probably on IR somewhere, but yeah. I wouldn't go out of my way for Gus.
No, Raheem Mostert I'd rather have. Yeah.
As far as Dulcich as the tight end, I mean, the guy, it's not Alberto. It's not Alberto.
I think he played one snap, and it was a blocking snap.
Let's put it that way. Yeah. He is not the dude. He is not the dude. So, yeah, sure. Dulcich is in Dynasty, absolutely. In redraft, if I'm looking at Dulcich, then it's like, what the hell happened? But, yeah, it's not Alberto.
My question is there a tight end to own in Denver?
Probably not.
Like, I don't like.
Dynasty,
yes,
Dulcich.
people see it's not Alberto, so they're swerving to Greg Gucci D. I don't know if there is a tight end to own in Denver. You have to remember, with Russell Wilson, outside of a few years where he did not have a number one or really even a number two wide receiver, his number one wide receiver was Jimmy Graham.
Yep.
So he lived off of Jimmy Graham production out of necessity when Jimmy Graham was in his prime. But outside of those few years in the early part of his career, when has Russell Wilson really sustained tight end production, even in the best of times outside of those Jimmy Graham years?
I think
there was Will Dissly for hot 2-3 game stretches throughout his time here. Everett had a hot in quotations 5 game stretch to end last year.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson has never been a
He likes them in the red zone.
Yeah.
But
he's never been a hyper targeter of the tight end position. That's my point.
Yeah. Dulcich for Dynasty, and that's it.
And honestly, I don't like if you have Greg Dulcich, like think about in Dynasty again. Think about what you can trade for Greg Dulcich right now, knowing that nobody's in on Alberto, knowing that Greg Dulcich is in the waiting in the wings. You can probably trade him off of speculation to get an upgrade at tight end.
Yeah.
Kels, do you drop Allen Robinson? It's close. I'm not quite there yet.
I could be, depending on who's available.
I just don't know if there's anybody available this week who I would drop Allen Robinson for at the wide receiver position if I need to swerve.
I would just let us know who's on the wire that you're looking at, because I'm honestly, like, depending on who you say, I could say yes. Let us know who you're looking at.
George Pickens and Michael Gallup would be the only two options that I would drop Allen Robinson for.
I'd go as far as Corey Davis, too. That's how off of him I am at this point.
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
I truly would. I feel gross about Allen Robinson right now. Yeah.
I think after last week's game, the Rams brass knows they need to make a little bit of a change, and we might actually be forced to see more Allen Robinson moving forward. But that is completely speculation based off of a bad loss.
He can't get open. He can't get open. I mean, I guess he was open. There were a couple times he was open week 1, but if Stafford is just keen on Cooper Kupp, if he just has eyes for Kupp, and Robinson is not consistently getting open, we're talking about a wide receiver 4 here. So, Kels, let us know who's available, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and there's the specter of Odell Beckham coming back and all that, too. So, yeah, I mean, Allen, it's tough if you have Allen. I have Allen in a couple of places. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Over under on Nemo gaining one zombie.
We love you, but we always have to take the under on this.
Yeah.
And again, if you go winless, no one's gonna hold that against you. Like, I want the zombie role as well. Like, I want that opportunity to take on that challenge of like waiver-wire squad versus a team that actually got drafted. It's gonna be tough. You need to root for multiple bad performances each week. And that's okay. That's the fun of the zombie league. There's no pressure. I know that record doesn't.
Yeah, but look at this squad you got. I know for the people that are regular listeners, you're not privy to this information, but Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, Drake London, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Higbee, James Robinson, Melvin Gordon. You got on this.
Not bad.
Not bad at Gerald Everett. I think you got a better chance than you would think even after some disappointing weeks for you, where you were hoping to get one, if you were one player away from gaining that zombie friend. I think it's going to happen sooner than later. Upsets happen in fantasy all the time.
Oh yeah.
And with a squad like this, with having Jamal Williams while Swift is out, with having Khalil Herbert while David Montgomery is out, with having Melvin Gordon for the rest of the season, you have James Robinson. Like, you're gonna have weeks. I firmly believe that. Drake London, Curtis Samuel, you're gonna have weeks. You just gotta be patient. Jacksonville D against Houston, or Minnesota against Chicago. Also, Fields was under on the 13 completions.
Any defense that's playing the Bears.
They look terrible.
Any defense that's playing the Bears.
They look like the worst offense I think I've ever seen in the NFL. And this is coming from a lifelong Bills fan, so you know that's real. It looks like the worst offense I've ever seen. I never thought I'd be thinking, man, I wish they had Nagy. Like, whoa.
I'm not ready to go that far, but yeah, they look terrible.
They look terrible.
Yeah. They somehow accomplished going backwards this year. Only the Bears. Yeah. Play any defense against any defense can be
until further notice.
Yeah. Yup. Until further notice, any defense can be played against the Bears offense.
Corey Jones. Would you trade Tyreek Hill for Saquon Barkley? Yeah.
If you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tyreek Hill gets a downgrade at quarterback. Barkley
looks awesome.
Playing like the RB1 right now.
Looks awesome. Yes, Corey, if you can. I don't really have much else to say. Like, if you can do it, yes.
And Sheldon Bright, good to see you, man.
What's up, Sheldon?
Hope last week you did well. Should you sit Pittman this Thursday? Your wide receiver 1 and 2 is Devontae Smith and Mike Williams, full PPR.
That's hard to sign off on. You're firing up Williams no matter what, and Devontae Smith.
I would ask the question, who's in your flex spot? Because I would want to play Williams and Pittman and then put Smith into the flex.
Yeah.
Unless you have a monster flex like situation where there's no way, if you have CMC in your flex or something crazy like that, then fine. But I'm trying to find ways to play Devontae Smith in my lineup pretty much every week at this point.
I'm not worried about the fact that he only had 3 for 17 in what was essentially the remnants of Hurricane Ian. The Eagles get the Cardinals this week in the dome, in the desert, controlled conditions, right? No weather concerns in the dome. Devontae Smith is going to have a much stronger week than he did week 4. I absolutely want, I want to find a way to get all 3 of them into the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, number 5 in passing yards.
Hurts looks great.
Number 1 in yards per attempt, which means he's targeting downfield.
He's chucking it down the field, yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's been phenomenal. He's been awesome. Way more than even advertised. He is the awesome. QB1.
He's been awesome.
I think he's the QB1 right now. If it's not Josh Allen, it's Jalen Hurts. Those two are in a tier of their own right now. That says all you need to know.
Hurts is a multiple passing and rushing touchdown threat on a per game basis.
So you're playing Devonta Smith where you can. So I would say try to find Devontae Smith. Let's try to find a way to put Devontae Smith into your flex spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, don't play your Thursday players in the flex. If you do ultimately play Pittman, put him in a wide receiver spot. Give yourself as much flexibility as possible. Yep. Move your even if it's like your RB1 that you need to move out of your flex because you have 2. If you have 2 running backs, if your RB2 and your RB3 are both playing on Thursday, you put your RB1 in the flex.
William Risky. Trade question in standard. Breece Hall and Michael Carter for Sutton.
It depends on who your wide receivers are.
I wouldn't want to give up 2 pieces from the same offense. playing the same
especially
position.
when they're the same insurance, but when when each one is the other's insurance policy.
If you want to trade Brees and you're content with Carter, I would try to trade Brees for Sutton and add a different asset.
I don't want to trade Brees.
I don't want to trade Brees either, but I mean, see if the best thing to do would be to see if you can package Carter with something for Sutton. If the other owner needs a little juice added to his side of the deal, continue trying to package Brees with somebody, knowing you have Michael Carter. But in standard, it's tough to move off of 2 running backs for a wide receiver in standard.
Yep.
Just off principle.
Yep.
And as Judy gets healthier, he could eat into that target share for Sutton. Sutton's been great, but could happen. We got a question for Nick. Wants to hear your thoughts on his team. 2 trades gained: Lamar Jackson, James Conner, Rashad Bateman, TJ Hawkinson, Amari Cooper, and JD McKissick. Traded away Russell Wilson, Dalvin Cook, Cortland Sutton, and Travis Kelce.
I mean, I love moving off Russ and Dalvin Cook. I love moving off of those guys. I want nothing to do with Russell
honestly
Wilson.
Based off of how what Sutton's been doing the past few weeks, we know it's partially because of a Jerry Jeudy injury.
Yeah,
I'm fine moving off of Sutton here too. Kelce is tough.
You picked up Bateman and Amari Cooper.
Yeah, but Kelce is tough.
It hurts to move off of Kelce. You would have to give me. There's so much you would have to give me to move off of Kelce.
Now you move from the tight end 1 to the tight end 3. So
yeah,
total points, that's not bad, but you are going to hurt weekly because Hawkinson is not a weekly stud like Kelce is.
Significant quarterback upgrade, so that's awesome. Plus the guy he throws to in Bateman. Bateman and Amari Cooper absolutely offset the loss of Sutton. Connor, I'm not crazy about, but I'm not crazy about Dalvin Cook either. So the fact that you also got JD McKissick as well, fine with that. Kelce for Hawkinson is the only one where it's like meh. But all things considered, like the whole package, the whole scope of things, I'd say you did well. Nemo, because you got the biggest thing for me is you got rid of 2 guys that I want no part of at this point between Russell Wilson and Dalvin Cook.
And yeah, Lamar and Bateman stack. Love to see that. Even though you're coming off of a Russ Sutton stack.
That's okay.
You're moving into a stack that is probably going to be at least equitable. Picking up Connor, picking up Amari Cooper. Don't love losing Kelce. I never will. But moving to the tight end 3 is not a bad move. Now I would challenge you to add to that trade. Move off of Hawkinson like we advocated for other people. Try to move into a Freiermuth, who hasn't scored as many points, didn't have the boom week that Hawkinson did last week. Try to move away from Hawkinson, pick up a Freiermuth, and pick up extra.
Yep.
So I would challenge you to turn those 2 trades into another trade. I know you weren't asking to hear my thoughts on the team, but I like the deals.
Yeah. No, overall, I think you did well.
Absolutely. Alex, should you drop or trade any of these players on my team? Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Jeff Wilson, Rashad White, Elijah Mitchell, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman, Elijah Moore, Alan Lazard, Bateman, Zach Ertz.
So you're not
1-3 in a 14-team league.
You're not dropping any of these guys. Like, no, that's completely.
I'd trade Jeff Wilson.
You could trade. I mean, well, because you also have Mitchell, I don't know if I would.
Well, Mitchell is coming back. At what point Jeff Wilson becomes a bench player.
Yeah.
You've gotten 2 weeks out of Jeff Wilson. How many more weeks do you have out of Jeff Wilson before Elijah Mitchell comes back? That's where I would, you if you're 1-3 and you're looking to make a deal, 14 team.
Jeff Wilson and Ertz for Andrews. Throw Elijah Moore in there too if you have to.
I'm just okay with moving away from your RB3, knowing you have Rashad White, knowing you have Elijah Mitchell, waiting in the wings for when he gets healthy. I'm okay moving off of your RB3. Dobbins is healthy, should get the full workload. I mean, Jeff Wilson to you right now is a flex play, Alex. So I'm fine moving off of Jeff Wilson, who had another good game last week.
You could play Evans, Pittman, and then either Lazard or Bateman in the flex.
And honestly, in terms of shelf life, Wilson's time is coming to a close. It is. So I would...
high.
Yeah, sell high. In a 14-team PPR, I would sell high on Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson and Elijah Moore for an RB upgrade.
Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Jeff
Because
Wilson
Evans,
and
Pittman, Lazard, Bateman, like your wide receivers there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
That's fine. Yeah. At first I was like, well, you have both 49ers back, so you have each other's insurance policy, but you could also roll the dice and try to maximize your ceiling and just hope that Mitchell comes back and does get reinserted as the team's like 1A option when he's healthy.
And I think he does.
He should.
That's how the team wants to use him. TDP hasn't asserted himself. Jeff Wilson's been as advertised, but I think he goes back into a sub-package role.
Yeah.
And in terms of how to rate your team, I like your wide receivers. I like your top 2 running backs. Your tight end is opportunistic.
Don't know what the bench is. Yeah. I mean, again, 1 and 3, obviously not the start you want, but you're a minimum of 7 or 8 weeks away from having to, decide from having to throw in the towel.
But look at your squad. I think there's a reason why you're 1 and 3. Dobbins, you couldn't rely on for the first 3 weeks. Jeff Wilson, you weren't relying on through 2 weeks, and you started him probably starting week 3.
Evans got suspended. Elijah Moore is off to a slow start.
Right. Pittman
didn't play the first couple of weeks.
Outside of week 1, Pittman's been rough to play.
Yeah. This can still come together.
Yeah. I would advocate making one move, and that's to move off of Jeff Wilson, but your team should be much stronger moving forward. By default.
Yeah.
Dennis, Steven, L, what's happening?
What's up, Dennis? I think my answer here is no. You're not. I mean, I know Akers has had a rough go of it, but I don't think I can drop him. What is the latest on David Montgomery? Since you have both of them, I'm not dropping
either.
Yeah, I'm not dropping either. I'm not dropping Garrett Wilson. You're definitely not dropping Lazard. Michael Thomas.
Not a drop either.
You're not dropping him. Yeah, you're not dropping any of those dudes.
Do you have anybody else that you can drop?
Yeah, like who else is? Yeah.
Because if those are your options to drop, it looks like you're in an 8-team league or something like that.
Maybe
and
not.
I would just stay pat.
Yeah. Not sure. Could be 10 teams.
Could be.
Should be 10 teams, actually, based on some of those names. I'm not dropping any of those guys. If you don't have IR spots, like for guys who are ruled out of games, because did Michael Thomas play last week or no? No, he was out. You need IR. If you don't have IR spots, talk to your commissioner.
Yes.
Because and Montgomery too.
I'd advocate for that in every league.
Yeah, I added one in my keeper league that I managed without consulting the league at all, and literally nobody said a word. So,
and Fabian is recommending that Alex Watts go and get a different tight end.
Yeah, that's not bad. So yeah, do Ertz and Jeff Wilson or something. Yeah, for a tight end upgrade or. Yeah.
For Freiermuth Plus.
Sure, lots of ways to go there.
Because Ertz has been a viable tight end through 4 weeks. So
actually, Ertz isn't the one I'm worried about for when Hopkins returns. It would more or less, I guess, be Hollywood. Although Hollywood is off to a very good start, which is, I guess, what we expected. But he's still doing it. You still have to actually go out and do it, and he's doing it.
And yes, Senior Rojo, we like your squad.
Happy to help.
Yeah. I hope it does.
Run out of patience. I know it's easy to run out of patience and panic and make some moves. You're all right. Okay, we're taking this 1 week at a time.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you should be hitting the panic button. Even though you're 0-4, it happens. I'm on a squad, or I have a squad that should not be 0-4 and is. We just keep playing the second highest or highest point total weekly, and that happens. Sometimes you just got to stick it out. Sometimes the 0-4 team makes the playoffs. So,
yep.
Have belief in the squads you compiled.
Yep. And Modern Dog, trade Pittman for Najee Harris.
Yes.
With having Cooper Kupp and AJ Brown, you're good.
Deep sleeping club. I like. Is that sleeping? Sleeping. I like that. So you just traded Aaron Jones and Hollywood Brown for Taylor. Do you think that is good?
This is a little bit more palatable for me because I just got done saying that while Hollywood's off to a great start, we would expect his usage to take a hit when Hopkins returns. I love Aaron Jones. Always have, always will. But let's call a spade a spade. You're still drafting Jonathan Taylor over Aaron Jones. So I'm fine with this as long as you can stomach the fact that you might not have him week 5, or if he does play, it could be in a limited situation. He was seen in a walking boot today. He didn't participate in the walkthrough. Teams are always going to take it easy with their practice schedules on a short week, so there's only so much stock you can put into that. What is obviously the noteworthy thing is he is in a walking boot. He could shed it. Doesn't sound like this is a high ankle sprain. If it was a high ankle sprain, he'd already be ruled out. So you might have to wait. He might need a week or 2, or maybe even 2 to 3 to get sea legs back under him after an injury. But you're still talking about a guy. Yes, Aaron Jones has our, top 5 running back upside, but Taylor has top 1 upside. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and Jonathan Taylor's still number 3 in carries, number 4 in snap share, number 4 in expected fantasy points per game, number 5 in routes run, number 1 in route participation, tied.
Opportunity is there.
And you look, and his run blocking rating is number 42 in the league. I went back and looked to see what it was the year before. Number 42 in the league. It's time we started thinking of this Indianapolis Colts O-line as bad.
Not as good as they're pegged to be or billed to be.
But I still think, based off of the price that you gave up, it's a good move.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we should be expecting top 3 upside from Taylor this year. But he should be able to return top 8, top 10 upside.
He should.
Yeah. And Sheldon, as an addendum to your other question up top, you have Saquon and Ramondre as your RB1 and 2. Should you play Pittman in the flex over CEH full PPR?
I
think the question is whether you should play Devontae Smith over CEH in the flex full PPR.
Or should you just play Clyde over Ramondre?
I would play Clyde over Ramondre, and I would play Devontae Smith over Ramondre in the flex. I'd be sitting Ramondre Stevenson right now out of those options in full PPR.
Well, the Patriots are at home against Detroit.
Playing with Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, which means that they...
And Damian Harris is still splitting half of the work here.
14 carries for 66 yards from Ramondre last week, caught 4 of 5 targets for 23 yards. So, went over, nearly had 90 yards from scrimmage last week on the road.
55% of snaps, still splitting work with Damian Harris at this point. I'd be sitting him in favor of CEH, and I would be playing Devontae Smith over him for this week. CEH is a much start until he stumbles.
They get the Raiders at home on Monday night.
Who?
The Chiefs.
Okay.
I don't know. I might take...
CEH is the RB4 on the year. I'm not sitting that guy.
Oh, no. I want to play... Oh, I agree. I want to play... That's why I'm sitting here thinking, do I bench Pittman?
No. I'm not.
I might. I know it sounds crazy, and I like Pittman. This is not an anti-Pittman thing, but Matt Ryan is not playing well.
Yes, but in 2 weeks where Michael Pittman played with a Matt Ryan who's not playing well, 22 fantasy points and 11 fantasy points as a floor.
Michael
Pittman was a little bit banged up last week. He should be all the way healthy this week. I'm going back to him as a high-end wide receiver 2, maybe not the wide receiver 1 we were expecting him to be, but I'm playing him over Ramondre.
Man. Sheldon, I hate to say it, but there's a good chance you're going to have somebody on your bench who does very well. These are good options to have, but Bailey Zappi doesn't scare me away from Ramondre Stevenson. That's all I'll say. And at home against Detroit, him and Damian Harris could both feast. I'm having a hard time with this.
I'm not having as much as a hard time. I'm playing Pittman. I'm playing Mike Williams. I'm playing Devonta Smith in the flex. And I'm playing CEH over Ramondre and putting Ramondre onto my bench.
All right. I mean, yeah, I agree. Clyde needs to be in there. Clyde has to be in there.
You have to remember, this is a good problem to have when you have too many players.
It is a good problem to have. Right. This isn't like an option. This isn't like two like middling options that you're between. These are all very strong options.
But I mean, in terms of that, this is more of a start-sit question. We have all week to or at least until Thursday to go over this one. You have my recommendation for what you should do. Nick is a little bit less certain. At the very least, throw this into the Discord over the next 2 days, and we can have a little bit more of a deliberation over this topic in the Discord, and you can come to your decision at that point.
Yep.
Nemo.
Appreciate everyone's patience. We are getting to every question, we promise.
Yes. Yep. Nemo, Conklin keeps it up with Zach. Might have a solid 6 to 7 target, 50-yard floor.
I have no reason to believe he can't do that at this point. He looks great.
He's having a much better year than I ever would have thought.
He looks great.
Tight end 9 on the season.
What is my best ball share of Tyler Conklin?
Now look, he did come back to earth in week 4 with Zach Wilson. Instead of 7 and 9 targets, it was 5. He caught 3 for 52. I mean, he's at the point with Zach Wilson where he's not going to have the feast games unless he scores a touchdown, because Zach Wilson isn't going to be throwing the ball 44 to 59 times a game. It's just not within the realm of possibility for him. That is where Tyler Conklin has been. That's what Tyler Conklin has been living off of, is volume and a very good snap share. He still has the very good snap share. He's not going to have the volume moving forward. He is going to be more volatile. I don't think he has a 6 to 7 target 50-yard floor. I think he has a 5 to 6 target 30-yard floor. If I'm being realistic with what Zach Wilson can offer you, especially in a loaded wide receiver core that goes 3 deep. So we got to keep it realistic for Conklin, but I think he is at least a top 15 option moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the modern dog, Ramondre, was a must draft for me, and this was why. Thanks, y'all. Hey, appreciate it. Yeah. And I just shout out real quick, very much appreciate Rico Baptiste. We will get to your super in a second, but very kind of you for throwing the super our way. But in terms of the modern dogs chat here, Ramondre is showing some things.
It's hard to sit him at home against Detroit.
It really is.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 weeks, Ramondre Stevenson is the RB14 in standard, and he is the RB14 in PPR. So firmly on the high-end RB2 radar, and I am not discounting that in the slightest. when I'm advocating maybe Sheldon Bright, sit him. Again, it's a good situation to be in, not a bad situation. I just think the other players that you have, Sheldon, have a higher ceiling than Ramondre does, which is why I'm going all ceiling with my advocation there. But Ramondre definitely showing out through the year, through 4 weeks on the year. And you are very happy if you drafted him in any format.
All right, let's get to Rico.
Yes, sir. Rico, thank you very much again.
Yeah, appreciate it. But it's got a situation here. Burrow, Hall, Pierce, Debo, A.J. Brown, Dubs, Pitts, Dobbins. This is looking pretty good. Javonte, Hopkins, Burks, Amon-Ra. So you're going to drop Javonte. Very much makes sense at this point, unfortunately. To add Rashad, Algier, Pickens, or Brian Robinson, I'm going to drop Javonte for Rashad White. Your receivers are loaded. I love Pickens, but you're not playing him over Debo, A.J. Brown, or Amon-Ra. And when he comes back, Hopkins.
And
at this point,
Javonte was your RB2. So you need to replace him. This is exactly the situation that we were talking about earlier with why Mike Boone would be a highly targeted guy if you had Javonte, why you want to go out and shore up that position. You need somebody in your RB2 spot. So go out and get White. Should be a viable PPR asset moving forward.
Yeah. And is not far from an opportunity in the event something happens to Lenny.
And he says pick 2 out of that waiver list. So White, and
or to drop Burks to pick up one. You could also drop Burks. Burks had a very. Did Burks get hurt?
He got hurt. He's hurt right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, drop Javonte for White and drop Burks for Algier. Shore up your running backs because your wide receivers are great and keep it moving.
Yeah, Burks is not. I hate turf toe, man. I didn't realize he had turf toe. He wasn't like a must roster in redraft anyway. Now he's a comfortable drop. It's unfortunate because he was seeing a big snap increase the past couple of weeks. But turf toe, probably, if he gets put on IR, he's guaranteed to miss 4 games. Turf toe is a pain in the ass injury over the duration of the season. It's something that is probably going to linger even if he is able to return. I mean, he's going to be able to return, but it's going to bother him for the rest of the season. It won't be an issue next year, but it's going to likely stay an issue for the rest of this year. Yeah. Drop Burks and Javonte and get Rashad and Algier. Or, hell, Pickens is fine too at that point. But I would prioritize, you know what? If you're
with Debo,
Burks,
A.J. Brown, Dubs, you have Hopkins coming back by week 7.
Yeah,
you have St. Brown
Rashad
coming back.
Yeah, still go Rashad
by
and
maybe even next week. Like you don't need a wide receiver.
No. Go.
Even the best case scenario for Pickens, he's still your wide receiver 6.
Yep. So yeah, Rashad and then Algier.
Yeah, go and get those running backs, man. Sorry you have to deal with Javonte not being in for you for the rest of the year. I know a lot of people are dealing with that right now, but you got a great squad. So you should be able to pick up those guys and keep it moving.
Squad looks strong. So you just need Pitts to start picking it up and you're going to be all right.
Absolutely.
You're going to be just fine. Appreciate the super, Rico. Appreciate you being in here. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Yeah, much appreciated. Not necessary, but as you know, we will immediately jump to your question if you are feeling kind enough to send a super our way.
And let's get back into rapid fire mode because we do have a couple of questions piling up here.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience.
Not Patrick,
you can always argue, bro.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
You can always argue, Patrick. If we're not afraid of that. Talk whatever you feel like you need to talk about.
And Cameron, I'm glad you got the dub last week, even with Amari's 1.9 points for you. This week should be better in terms of the box score because of they're playing the Chargers.
Yeah, and they're at home. Always feel good about your guys at home. You just have to.
John Hernandez Gleaton, good to have you in
John?
here, man. Thanks for joining us. So you have Mitchell stashed on IR since he got dropped to waivers.
Smart.
Good job. And the Jeff Wilson owner is trying to trade for Mitchell and is offering poop. Yes.
Well, I don't want poop.
Should I hold since his value increases week by
Absolutely.
week? Yes.
Absolutely.
Hold.
You have the guy with
Don't
longer
accept
term
poop
value.
from anybody.
Nah, don't. Yeah, no matter what it is. It's like if you want, because that's the person, if anything, that's the person in your league who should be ponying up a little extra because they have Wilson. So no, don't settle. Get a wide receiver 3 plus. And actually, that might even be too much of a low ball. You probably should just hold Mitchell.
Hold Mitchell.
You probably should just hold Mitchell.
He holds more value for you come the playoff push than he does for whatever return you could get right now, especially from the Jeff Wilson owner.
Yeah.
Tamian, good to see you.
What's up, Tamian?
You're in trade talks right now. Is Saquon risky? Should I give him up if I get CEH and other assets? It always depends on the other assets, but I'm not moving off of Saquon for really anything right now.
I'm not moving Saquon. I love Clyde, and I love the start that Clyde is off to, and I'm very happy for him with the start that he's off to. But also, it's fair to ask yourself, is the Clyde production sustainable for the rest of the season? We hope it is. We can't sit here and definitively say it is. Saquon is not getting snaps taken away from him the way Clyde is. And yes, Clyde continues to lead in touches, deservedly so. He's the most talented player in that backfield. But even if, no matter what the other asset is, I'm not trading Saquon. Not for Clyde plus a piece. I'm not trading Saquon unless I'm getting Christian McCaffrey and then maybe, and that's like a minimum. I'm keeping Saquon.
Yeah, this is the first time that CEH has gone over 50% of snaps this year. Saquon's been at least an 83% snap share all year, and over the past 2 weeks, it hasn't been anything less than a 92% snap share. I'm not moving off of that. Yep. 31 target attempts, 146 yards last week, 2 targets through the air, still getting it done through the air. I'm not moving off of Saquon for almost anything at this point, unless it's an offer that I straight up can't refuse, where the guy's giving up CEH, a borderline wide receiver 1, and a wide receiver, running back 2 that I really like, or something like that. The author has to blow me away.
It has
to be at positions of need.
Or a wide receiver 1 who is actually firing.
Right.
That's what it needs to be.
Like if it's
Clyde
CEH,
is firing, like an RB1, but
if it's CEH and Devontae Smith and like Kyle Pitts, I'll think about it. But even then, it's like, do I want to give up Saquon? Who's doing, like, you got Mixon, you got Saquon. It's a great 1-2 punch.
You're fine.
Both of those guys should continue to put up RB1 numbers throughout the season. I'm not too worried.
Yep, hold.
I'm not too worried. Callie, if McKenzie sits Khalil Shakir, pick up and play, can he steal a role?
Pick up and play? No. Could he steal the role? Also probably unlikely. But if you're only playing Shakir in a spot start if you're desperate. I'm not playing him just because of an opportunity that arose. I imagine you have better options, safer options.
And if you looked at what the Bills were doing, they started treating the running backs more like passing down options, with the lack of targets being, by nature of not having McKenzie and Jamison Crowder for parts of the game last game. I don't think it just goes to Khalil Shakir straight up. I think it's going to get split amongst everybody. Remember, we haven't seen any spike weeks from Dawson Knox yet, so he gets more involved too. I don't think if McKenzie sits, it's swap in, swap out for Khalil Shakir. I think it's more of a entire offense situation. Shakir is not a play in any redraft situation for 2022.
No.
Cameron B. Elijah Mitchell is on waivers in my league. Yes. Drop KJ Osborne and pick him up.
For him. Yep.
Yes.
I like KJ Osborne a lot, but drop him for Mitchell.
Yeah, and I'm fine stashing Jamison Williams and Elijah Mitchell for later on in the year. Go for it.
You're a little thin at wide receiver. AJ Brown is great. Amari Cooper is very strong play. Brandon Ayuk is fine. Rondale Moore is whatever.
Would you drop Rondale Moore over KJ Osborne?
Instead of
yeah, I think I might. Greg
Did
Dortch
Rondale do
might have
anything
taken
in his
Rondale Moore's role straight up.
Yep. I mean, he caught
and
3
KJ
catches,
Osborne's
11
still
yards.
catching touchdowns. He caught a touchdown 2 weeks ago. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I think I'm moving Rondale Moore in a 16-team full PPR. But I would absolutely pick up Elijah Mitchell. Can't believe he's on waivers on your league in a 16-team league. Seems like mismanagement.
Yeah, go get
You can capitalize.
Your running backs are deep, but that can change at the drop of a hat.
Yo,
So,
Tamian just got offered St. Brown and JT for Saquon and Juju. Ooh.
Damn.
I think I would do that.
I gotta do.
I think I would do that.
I think I gotta do.
I think I would do that.
And what's up, CXK? Good to see you.
Good to see you, CXK.
Yeah, Tammy and I, this is the type of deal we're talking about. If you can get yes, JT hasn't quite fired since week 1, but he's a guy that we still believe in as an RB1. St. Brown is at this point a wide receiver 1. I don't want anything to do. What did you again? I'm sorry. I was traveling Sunday night. What did Juju finish with Sunday night?
I don't know.
In a game where the Chiefs scored 41 points, did Juju
7
have a nice
points.
day?
8 targets, 5 receptions, 46.
Yes, Tamian, do
that
deal.
Do it. St. Brown's
Get
been
the
a
hell off of
clear-cut
Juju.
wide receiver 1, and you're staying in the same tier as far as running backs go.
Yeah. Saquon looks fantastic, but JT is equitable, and St. Brown is a massive upgrade over Juju. Yes, do it. That I will part with Saquon for.
Yep.
That I will part with Saquon for. And no, Hunter, I don't think it's a high ankle. Otherwise, I feel like they would have ruled him out by now. And yes,
it's a high ankle injury. I don't think it's a high ankle sprain. I don't think they've capitalized it as such, but it is a high ankle injury.
I don't know if there's any difference there, but yeah, I would think. And again, teams play smoke and mirrors all the time with their injury updates.
Well, a high ankle sprain is a tear.
That's a multi-week
of any grade, 1, 2, 3. It's a tear. If it's a high ankle injury, it may just be.
He twisted it.
Yeah, right. Something that really does just require a few more extra days of
needs some rest. Yeah.
Right.
So,
we don't know enough information on it right now, but that's what I can speculate.
Yep.
Anthony Garcia, good to have you in here. How you doing, man? Grade the trade. Full PPR traded Pittman Jr. for Kamara straight swap. You add Javonte.
Okay.
So now Joe, Stevenson, Hunt, Hall. Wide receivers are Waddle, Cup, Davis, D-Hop, Lockett. Did I do good?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not crazy about acquiring. I know, John, you're a little bit more like you've been more of a proponent of saying like, let's go get Kamara on potentially the cheap. Not that Pittman is the cheap, but you're talking about a guy drafted probably near the 1-2 turn versus a wide receiver drafted in the 3rd round. So I don't hate that move. So is that Joe Mixon? And then Stevenson, Hunt, Hall. And now you add Kamara to that, and you still have Waddle, Cup, Gabe Davis, and Hopkins waiting in the wings, plus Lockett, who is overperforming his ADP. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I don't like giving letter grades. I would say I think it's a fair, depending on what the other team needed. I would say that's a pretty fair move. We need to, Kamara is a little dicey, right? He hasn't quite fired yet, and this Saints offense might not be that good. But we know Kamara's a talented player. Pittman is too. But you do have the wide receiver depth to offset this, and I understand wanting to go get another back in the wake of losing Javonte. So I'm fine with it. I am.
I mean, in PPR or standard, Alvin Kamara has never finished lower in his 6-year career thus far than RB10 on the year.
Yeah.
So it's clear that this start for him is an aberration, hasn't been healthy, but in week 3, 70% of snaps, 15 rushes, 7 targets. That's the kind of usage we want. We want over 20 total touches for Alvin Kamara. He got that in week 3. It didn't pan out in the box score, but he's still commanding that kind of usage. That bodes well enough for me to think, also considering he was a game time decision last week, he'll be in the fold this week. And this is the Saints team that should want to get back on track. Yeah. And we have enough of a track record with Kamara to know that he should be able to flip the script and, start out the gate again.
Yeah.
And, yeah, if he can push Stevenson, Hunt, and Hall down to your 3, 4, and 5 with no Javonte, that's fine. Because you have Kupp, you have D-Hop coming back into the fold. Lockett's been successful with Geno. Waddle, a little bit up in the air with Teddy Bridge, but we'll see. And Davis a little bit up in the air with his health, but there should be better days there. I think that's fine.
Yep.
In terms of a letter grade, B.
It's fine. I think it's good.
I'm not huge on letter grades either, but I think it helps. So B.
Fam first, about how much fob should you drop on Algier and Boone?
Half.
Half. But also, how badly do you need running backs? I don't mind the idea of if you don't need a running back right now, then spend 40% on Boone. If you do need a running back right now, then spend 40, 45, maybe even 50% on Algier. If you really need a running back, then screw it. Throw 40% at both of them.
Yeah.
That's how I would do the break. That's how if you don't need a running back right now, 40% on Boone. If you do, 40% on Algier. If you're desperate, 40% on both.
Yeah, we're at the point now where it's, these might be the moves that people have been waiting and saving their fab to make. We haven't had any huge screaming, this is the week to go out and spend all your fab on Elijah Mitchell type weeks this season. This could be it with Boone and Algier. Algier short term, Boone long term, Rachaad White long term. It all depends on how much you need a running back.
Yep. So I think I tiered it nicely. If you need us to follow up, fam, first, just let us know.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, let's. We still need to go quickly through these.
Yeah.
Let's start rapid firing. SWA, should you trade Kittle? If so, what tight end should I trade for? Using him in a package, I'm really worried about him.
Don't be. He's coming back from, he missed the first couple weeks with the groin injury. He's working his way back. It's going to probably take a couple weeks to get his sea legs back under him. Garoppolo's the quarterback, so that boosts his floor. You're going to get pennies on the dollar for him right now. Have some patience. Don't trade Kittle. Is it the start you wanted? Of course not. Can he still turn it around given the circumstances? Absolutely.
But if you are looking for a trade, again, target Freiermuth. That's my target for tight ends.
With Kittle, I wouldn't. Kittle, I wouldn't.
Okay, but I'm saying target Freiermuth plus with a guy like Kittle.
I hear
name
you,
recognition.
Freiermuth plus, but with Kittle, he's the guy I'm willing to wait on because 2 games back from missing the first few weeks of the season, he's just getting his sea legs back under him. He's going to be
Anthony
a big part
Garcia
of this
thinks
offense.
the same way you did.
He's going to be a big part of this offense, especially with Garoppolo back in the mix. Wait until Kittle gets his value back up, and then if you want to try to sell when the value is back to where it should be with Kittle, then I understand.
I don't hate that. Tamian, if it's for next week, it's Kenny Pickett. If it's season long, honestly, Kenny Pickett's got better weapons now too.
Still Kenny Pickett.
So I might just say Kenny Pickett out of those two. I'm not high on Mac Jones rest of the season.
Mac was off to a decent start, but worse weapons. Worse weapons. And
he wasn't even off to that decent of a start. He was kind of a middling guy too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pickett.
Pickett. And Anthony, you same wavelength on Kittle.
Dram, would you trade Josh Jacobs or Montgomery for Pittman Jr. in full PPR? I trade Montgomery for him for sure.
Montgomery, yeah, if you can.
Josh Jacobs, I don't know about.
No, I'm holding on to Jacobs. That is the RB1 in Las Vegas.
RB7 on the year, coming off of a big game. Yeah, I would just move Montgomery and not really think about it too hard.
The offseason noise about this being a committee or whatever and Jacobs getting run in the Hall of Fame game turned out to be smoke and mirrors. Turned out to be nonsense.
Yeah,
Jacobs
just trade
is the
Montgomery. I think that's the easy answer
Montgomery,
here.
yeah.
SWA. Should I try to trade Lamar for Hurts and get the Hurts AJ Brown stack?
You can, sure. I mean, I would, yeah, and that is a 1-for-1 that is feasible right now. You could, yeah. I don't hate it. I don't.
If the other owner is sleeping at all on Hurts and has a higher regard for Lamar and what he brings to the table, maybe you can get out a little bit more out of that deal. Maybe you can get something.
Yeah.
Maybe a lesser for more swap.
RB3.
Yeah, Lamar plus for Hurts plus, and it help the plus on your end helps a little bit more. Plus you get the AJ Brown stack. That's what I would be searching for. I wouldn't do the 1-for-1 swap.
Yeah.
Kazi, PPR flex, Sutton, CD, Godwin, Amari Cooper.
Need some context here. How many are options? Like how many can you play? Can you play 2? Can you play 3? Can you only play 1? CD has to be in. CD has to be in, and then at that point, it's like, who else? How many other options do you have? Let us know. Sorry, it took us a little while probably to get this far. If you're still in here, let us know. CD has to be 1. If you can start 2 or 3, then I guess I would go Sutton and Godwin. I guess depending on Jerry Jeudy's health, Sutton Amari, like Sutton depending on Judy's health, Amari Cooper based on Godwin's health.
Yep.
But CD has to be in there.
And Patrick, you have the best 0RB build there is. You're having issues with starting running backs this week, and you also have a trade question. You currently have CEH, Dobbins, and Hunt starting. You also have Edmonds and ETN. I would leave it as it is.
Keep it the way you have it. Yep,
and do you trade Pitts for Kittle?
Maybe. I hate that I'm saying this because I love Kyle Pitts and I'm not giving up on him, but maybe. Kittle might be the better option for this season, just based on what we've seen. And it's obviously fair to say that the 49ers are the better offense than Atlanta, or the more reliable, more trustworthy offense than Atlanta. Maybe.
For me, because of what you've been dealing with Pitts, I do like Kittle's future as it stands right now. But I'd be trying to trade Pitts and maybe Kareem Hunt for Freiermuth plus or Everett plus, or one of these guys that we expect to get consistent work, who should be better than what Pitts has been giving you thus far. Maybe not at what Kittle's ceiling is and we know to be. But considering you went 0RB, you do have a good 0RB build. Your RB3 could still use an upgrade. And you can get better than Pitts as it stands right now without doing a 1-for-1 swap for Kittle. So I would try to move like that. I would try to...
I don't hate trying to
get a better tight end who's a little bit more solidified, maybe not the name brand that Kittle is or Pitts is, and get better elsewhere. Because I do think some of these other tight ends that are showing things are season-long assets. Everett, Freiermuth.
You're saying below it could be a strategy because you play if you have Kittle, you play the person who has Jimmy Garoppolo that week. I wouldn't worry about that.
No.
I wouldn't worry about that. But as far as do you do it,
not unless you're in the playoffs.
I don't hate the move. I think, John, sounds like you might try to pivot to something else to get a couple of pieces for Pitts. I don't honestly know if you can even do that at this point, just because Pitts' value is at its lowest.
I'm surprised you can get Kittle right now.
Which is why I think you should just do it. And I hate to say it because I was very high on Pitts coming into the season, and I guess I'm not totally giving up on him. But if I can get Kittle straight up, whose value went up, unfortunately when Trey Lance went down, I think I do this.
Fair enough.
I think I do this.
Yeah. Either way you go, I do think it's okay to divest yourself of Pitts, whether that's for Kittle or Everett plus or Freiermuth plus or whatever. I think that's fine. Very good job on building the best 0RB build there is.
Done.
Good job. Good job.
Gives you some wiggle room here.
Mark Yasko, should I trade DJ Moore for Devonta Smith? The only issue is I have A.J. Brown already.
That ain't no problem. Do it. Devonta Smith is catching passes from the significantly better quarterback. DJ Moore is great. He's getting killed right now because of the quarterback play. Baker Mayfield stinks. Devonta Smith.
Yeah, DJ Moore can't even get it done on 11 targets. It's okay to move off of DJ Moore in non-dynasty formats.
Yeah, sure. Trade him for Devonta Smith. This might be, I'm going to assume it's redraft, but yeah. Devonta Smith is attached to the better quarterback in the much better offense.
And the fact that you have to, you're crying at having to rely on Goff because Lance got hurt.
That's okay.
Goff has been great.
Goff's been fine. You can go back to that well this week.
Yeah, Goff has been great.
Goff's been fine, and he gets his weapons.
The QB
back.
5 on the year. Don't cry about that, bro.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine, Mark. But yeah, I would pick up Devonta Smith, and I don't care that you have AJ Brown. Devonta, they're attached to a great offense.
Absolutely, I would agree. Anthony Garcia, random question, but is this your part-time jobs? What do you guys do for a living, or is this full-time? This is part-time.
Yeah, it's part-time. We'd love it to be full-time, but we're not there yet. We're admittedly not exactly close yet to that, but it is something we'd love to do. Full-time, I work as a programmer, not like in the engineering sense of the word, more as like an editorial type of person. I work as like a programmer. Think of the interface when you open Netflix or any streaming apps that you may have. I put together the they're called menus from where in my world, but when you click on that actual thing to go, like when you press the button to like watch something, I'm the one behind the scenes that like builds that thing.
And I am a IT support tech for a company, for 2 companies, and I'm also a music producer.
There you
but
go.
This is our part-time job. We would love it to be our full-time job. Hopefully we get there in the future. But thanks for the question, man. Nick Poppich, good to have you in here. Lamar CMC, Lenny, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Kelsey, Godwin, Judy, Jacoby Myers, Isaiah McKenzie, Dubs, Rashad White, IR Jameson.
Yeah,
is this a chip-winning team? You're 4-0. I think you said it right there. You're 4-0, bro.
Yeah, you said. Yeah, you kind of. I think you answered your own question.
You have the tight end one. You have a top 5. You have a top 3 option at running back. Top 5 option at quarterback. You have Jamar Chase.
Wide
I mean,
receivers.
This team is a chip-winning team.
Yeah, man. This is This should make a deep playoff run. At worst, this should make a deep playoff run. Nicely done.
Yeah, good job congrats on being 4-0.
Yeah.
Chris Kreider is sending away Wilson Jr. for Knox, a fair trade.
No, not right now. You should be able to ask for more than Knox.
You should be able to ask for more than Knox. It does depend on what your options at running back and tight end are right now.
Yeah. I don't hate acquiring Knox now that, Crowder's out indefinitely and McKenzie's dealing with an injury, but you should be able to get more than that for Jeff Wilson.
Not a ton more, but I would think so.
But more nonetheless.
And Patrick, you would say yes because the Eagles have the second easiest schedule in the league. And then do that, then try to package one of your Eagles wide receivers and try to get something else or Hurts or make them both.
That's fine.
Yeah, you could move that way, but honestly, there are offenses in the NFL where I have no issues rostering both of them and starting both of them. In the past, Mike Evans and Godwin. If you were starting both of them, you felt pretty good about it. Honestly, this Eagles team, this Eagles offense is approaching that level of efficiency, which means I have no issue starting either of those players weekly either. If you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, kind of same deal. You can feel free to start both of those guys. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, same deal right now.
Yep.
Sam Heather, you're doing a full PPR draft tonight. Should I shoot for running back or wide receiver first pick? How should the next couple of rounds go Full PPR, you should be going wide receiver first pick.
I mean, it depends on your draft position. And this is an interesting time to be doing a draft 5 weeks into the season. Is this like some type of best ball resurrection, or like what's the context here? Like, what pick do you have? Or is that the first overall pick? If it's the first overall pick, I think I would still go back. I mean, actually, if it's the first overall pick in full PPR, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper, okay.
I would take Cooper Kupp at this point. If you have the first pick, or if you're just saying first pick in general, like what pick in the round do you have? If it is the 101, I would go Cooper Kupp. Otherwise, I would need to know where your position is, and then we can maybe try to figure it out from there.
Yeah,
what's the
so
context of doing a draft now?
Let us know.
Curious to know.
Richie Rich, thoughts on my team? 12 team, full PPR. QB Brady, you're gonna want to move off of him. Waddle, Sutton, Thielen, Bateman, running back Najee, Lenny, Swift, Herbert, Hines, Gainwell, Carter, Warren, tight end Hawk and Ertz. Should you make some moves? I think you should. You got two good tight ends. You can move off of, honestly, Hawk right now and maybe ask for anything you want as the tight end 3 right now.
And
I would try to get a QB upgrade. I would maybe try to go for a wide receiver upgrade.
You need a wide receiver. Yeah, you need a wide receiver.
Thielen isn't performing like a wide receiver 3. Waddle is going to have some issues moving forward, dealing with the unproductibility that is a Teddy Bridgewater offense, and Brady is just not a viable quarterback right now.
Yeah.
But your running backs are strong. I would try to trade Hawkinson and get a better wide receiver
for an upgrade at wide receiver, something like that.
Yeah.
Hawk and Herbert, Hawk and Carter for a wide receiver upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because Ertz is going to continue to be very solid.
Yeah, he should be.
And then the second tier thing that I would do now, better days are going to be there for Brady. Remember, week 3 didn't have Mike Evans. Hasn't had Godwin pretty much at all. Now he has Godwin and Evans, and we saw a 3-touchdown game for him last week, and it was the first time he looked like the Tom Brady that we have been accustomed to seeing. So it could get better for Brady moving forward, which is why I would say immediately, your immediate need is wide receiver. Go out and change that. Wait a week. If Brady can put together 2 solid outings back-to-back, last week against the Chiefs and this week, maybe you can continue to roll with Brady now that he has his full cadre of weapons. But if he struggles at that point, maybe package another running back with Brady to get an upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Nick Popich, you said 10-man PPR to your question. Oh, yeah. Still a very good league.
Yeah, your team's
a very good team.
That makes it even stronger, to be honest.
Yeah. Max Fire, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And Sheldon, glad we could help. Hopefully it
helps.
Hope it does. Hope it does. But come back in the Discord and ask that question again as we get closer to Thursday, and we can better assist you. Yep. Rico, thank you very much again for the super.
Appreciate it.
Griffin Stiegman, trade Cook, Madison, and Debo for Lenny, Olave, and Keenan Allen.
Yes.
You're getting 3 starters for the price of 2 and a handcuff.
Yeah. I mean, Debo is awesome, right? He's spectacular. But I don't trust Dalvin Cook. I guess, the advantage to having both is if Cook goes down, Madison does plug into that RB1 role. But I feel much better about Lenny's RB1 role than I do Dalvin Cook. Olave is awesome.
The wide receiver 17 on the year as a rookie.
And you're getting Keenan Allen on kind of like a buy low as he's getting healthy.
Chris Olave has 2 13-target weeks, bro. Make that deal. Make that deal. You only get better when Keenan Allen gets healthy.
Yeah.
It's a lateral move until Keenan Allen gets healthy, which could happen in a week, and then it's clearly a win for you. So do it.
Yep.
Max Fire with the Dynasty question. Are you paying a 23 first for Javonte in Superflex Dynasty, not knowing how he will be when he returns from injury, or would you rather just hold the first and wait?
So I guess it depends on my situation. Am I, is my team awesome? Is my team awesome? I'm a win now team, or, I'm a good team, top 3 team in the league. My first round pick is probably going to be late. I have some standing power as far as what I expect to be good for a little while. Yeah, I'll pay the price and roll the dice that I beef myself up with a guy who has proven to have, to potentially be a top 5 dynasty running back. If I'm rebuilding or even middle of the pack, I'm holding the first. I'm only rolling the dice on Javonte if my roster could afford to potentially have to deal with the fact that Javonte is not the same after the injury. Does that make sense?
My holdup is, if what you need is my outlook here is, if you need a running back for the future, for your team, for your outlook, then sure. Because that is buying at a discount, because you would have to pay more than a 23 first to get Javonte Williams had he stayed healthy. If you don't need a quarterback in 23, or you accumulated a lot of picks in 2023, which was what is something a lot of smart owners did, you probably have more than one 23 first that you're relying upon in that situation. In which case, Javonte's 22 years old. Chances are at 23, when he comes in next season, he will still be younger than a lot of the running backs coming out. Remember Rachaad White, he'd be younger next season starting the year than Rachaad White was this season.
Yeah.
You have to remember that with Trey Lance, he's 22 years old, same deal. I have no issues paying for somebody who we kind of know what to expect from when he comes back healthy. Will it be on a time schedule that is the best for us? I can't guarantee that. It could mimic more what J.K. Dobbins' recovery schedule has been like, which is 3 to 4, 5 weeks into the season. Especially since Javonte seemed to have he's dealing with a little bit heavier of an injury than just like a ACL tear. Seems to be a little bit more involved in this one. But a 23 first for Javonte, if you don't need a quarterback and you're not rebuilding, then sure.
That's what I was saying. Like, if your team is built to win now and you can absorb a guy who might not be the same, you could afford to take a shot on a guy who might not be the same, then yes. If I'm middle of the pack or worse, I'm keeping my first.
And if you have more than one first, I'm fine doing it.
Okay. In any scenario?
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah. All right.
If you have more than one first, you still have the first for the lottery ticket in the draft.
Yeah,
you can still get a quarterback in a quarterback-heavy draft. You can still maybe get a Jackson Smith-Njigba, Kayshon Boutte, one of the running backs in this draft. But, I mean,
I would haggle
you're guaranteeing
that it has to be if you have 2 first-round picks, I would haggle that it has to be the whatever ends up being the worst of the 2 first-round picks.
Yes.
The further down, the later of the 2 picks. But yeah, if I have 1 first-round pick and I'm like the 6th best team or worse, I'm not acquiring Javonte.
Outside of anybody not named Bijan Robinson, I think I would rather have Javonte. Or if they're at least equitable to Javonte out of the running backs.
It's just fair to ask, will he be the same coming back? We can't sit here and say that that's going to definitively. We hope it happens. We can't say it for sure will happen.
True.
You might be waiting 2 years for Javonte to return to form.
At which point he's 24.
Yeah, he's still really young.
And with,
right.
coming back from an injury, but with less tread on his tires than others.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with it. If what you're looking for from the 23 draft class is a running back, getting Javonte Williams on your Superflex Dynasty team now could be just as good as any other running back not named Bijan Robinson next season. So I'm fine with it. It is a little bit circumstantial, though. D. Lenny, neither of those guys are must rosters. And Kyle Phillips could become a target hog, but it could just be split between him and Robert Woods, and it could just be Derrick Henry season for the next few weeks.
Yeah, I know. And Robert Woods I'm not crazy about anybody in that Titans passing attack. I mean, Robert Woods is fine. I mean, McKenzie is a good guy to roster. I wouldn't call Shakir a must roster. I wouldn't.
I don't think either are must rosters. I do like McKenzie more than Shakir.
I like McKenzie, but yeah.
Xavier Dubs, what's happening, man?
What's up, Xavier?
Hurst, Logan Thomas, or Robert Tonyan this week?
I think Tonyan is back.
Tonyan scored a touchdown last week.
Hurst scored a touchdown too. Packers are playing the Giants in London. The Bengals are playing the Ravens on Sunday Night Football.
The Ravens have given up, let me see here, the 16th most points to opposing tight ends. And the Packers have been the 29th worst. Or not? Wait. Who are they're playing the Giants?
Yeah, the Giants. What? I mean, the Giants' defense has been actually playing pretty well.
The Giants are 26th worst. So yeah, I think I would.
Hurst by the nature of the matchup.
Yeah, I really like Tonyan rest of season now that he's getting the snap share that we all. Well, not even the snap share that we wanted, but the usage that we wanted.
Now, I will say for the Giants, the tight ends they have faced are whoever, Austin Hooper in Tennessee. I think a Dalton Schultz-less Cowboys offense. Blanking on who the Giants played week 2. Carolina, they don't have a tight end. And Chicago, who they don't have a tight end either. Sorry, Cole Kmet, but they don't have a tight end. So the Giants actually haven't played anybody at the tight end position yet, to be fair. So that strong statistic against tight ends,
I would say that if we're extending it to what we viewed from the wide receivers, the Giants are giving up the second least fantasy points to wide receivers on a whole as well. So they're just not giving up a ton of receiving yardage.
They played Ryan Tannehill. They played Baker Mayfield. They played Cooper Rush, who probably is the best quarterback they've faced so far. And they played Justin Fields.
How are the Giants not 4-0?
The Giants' defense has been playing well, but they've played some of the most uninspiring offenses in the NFL so far. I think I lean Tonyan. It seems like this Packers offense is starting to round into form, and Tunyan's opportunity on a week-to-week basis feels safer to roll the dice on than Hurst is, who has to, who is competing with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd.
Is T. Higgins healthy?
He was last week.
I think he got banged up last week.
He got banged up again. T, no, what are you doing?
Let me check this out.
I think I would lean Tonyan.
It's tough, man, because you look at
defensive numbers are they're smoke and mirrors.
You look at Baltimore, and I mean, Baltimore is giving up the number one amount of fantasy points to wide receivers. Look at the tight ends that they've had to deal with: Mike Gesicki and Dawson Knox, both not really, and there are other tight ends in there.
Yeah. They played.
I think that the Ravens are a target for any passing offensive player. It doesn't show up as far as limiting it to tight ends, but they're giving up the most points to opposing wide receivers. And
the Jets and
Hurst, I think Hurst factors in. I think he does. I think I would go Hurst, because even out of Tonyan, you're hoping for 2 receptions and a touchdown, which barely gets you to 10 points. Doesn't get you to 10 points.
I mean, you're hoping the same for both. It's just a matter of who do you feel better about from
Hurst has been
more consistent, but Tonyan started, was coming back from injury and had a nice game, or he caught a touchdown this past week. I think we're split on this.
But Hurst was involved more last week, had more targets, and had the touchdown reception. So everything you could say for Tunyon, you can say for Hurst. Plays in a better offense, going to be in the red zone more. I think the answer is Hurst for me. It's Tunyon for Nick. We're split.
We're split. It just depends. Do you want a guy who has more of a wide open opportunity with a great quarterback, or a guy in probably the better overall offense, also with a great quarterback, but more options to turn to?
Tunyon's snap share actually went back this past week.
Yeah, it went backwards for whatever reason.
Probably because they didn't need him as much going up against Bailey Zappi. But
they took him to overtime.
It's crazy. But we're split here.
Yeah,
sorry about that, man. We would agree that you can't trust Disley and Mo Alley Cox.
I mean, Mo Alley had a 2-touchdown game, but that's, I guess, a little more volatile.
Yeah, I don't expect that every week. D. Linney, Patriots running backs have the second easiest rest of season schedule.
Yeah, see, this is
with the quarterback issues, yet solid defense. They're great buy lows as RB2 flexes with upside. Yeah,
both guys look like great options for the rest of the season, and yes, I want to find a way to get them into my lineup again this week at home. No question.
And because people are so high on Ramondre, now's the time to try and buy Damian Harris.
Yeah.
Because they are basically flip-flopping weeks at this point, and I don't know if that is going to change all that much, even with Ramondre getting a little bit of the edge here.
Yeah.
Still trying to get Damian Harris. Lincoln was here. Someone is offering you Bateman for Komet. Oh, yo.
Do it.
Yo, do it.
Not even a question.
Do it. What?
And you have Kelsey and Andrews.
It's Dynasty. Don't care.
This guy's a drunk.
Don't care. Trade Bateman for Komet yesterday.
I try not to poo-poo players, but Komet is nothing.
He cannot be a top 5
He'll
tight
never
end in
be.
the league.
Yeah, he won't be top 10. He'll never be top 10.
He would do well for himself to get into that 10 to 12 range once or twice throughout his career.
Yeah.
And we don't even see that at this point.
Yup.
Do it now.
Yeah, Lincoln, get on that. Smash accept and rip a shot. Yeah, it to celebrate.
And Scooby Taylor, here's another one. Should I trade Derrick Henry for Jonathan Taylor and Gabe Davis? Yes, do it now.
Yeah, Scooby.
Do it now.
Yes,
both of those deals. Do it now.
Do it.
Go get
Lincoln
Bateman,
and Scooby,
Lincoln.
do your trades.
Go get Taylor and Davis, Scooby.
Do your trades. And it's full PPR, and you're getting a wide receiver.
Jeez,
yes, sir.
Man. Oh, Greg Z. Defense this week. Defense question. Chargers, Vikings, Broncos, Jacksonville.
Vikings. They're playing the Bears.
There's your answer.
Vikings.
Easy answer.
That anybody who's playing the Bears, just fire them up. It could be a college defense. Just fire them up. The Bears are the target on offense right now.
Yes. They're the worst offense I've ever seen in 10 years of playing fantasy football, whatever. Half PPR, rest of season, Boone, Penny, or Algier? Penny. And Fox and Knox and Fryermuth? Fryermuth.
Muth.
Pretty easy answers for me there.
Muth is loose.
And Nick held it down with the defense option. Always target any
target
defense
the Bears
playing the Bears.
Until further notice. They need to eclipse, I think they've eclipsed 300 total yards of offense maybe once, but holy hell.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it's Ryan McDowell, I think is a dynasty Twitter follow. He had a stat earlier today that Justin Fields is averaging more points as a runner than he is as a passer. It is brutal.
And he's not even averaging that much as a runner either.
That was the play. He's averaging about 6.
It's misleading to even say that because it's saying...
It's not misleading because he's averaging about 6 points per game running the football, and he's averaging 4 points a game throwing the ball. Which means he's giving you about 100 passing yards a week.
Yuck.
Gross.
Xavier, top 3 waiver ads this week. Pittman's been mid. Hollywood's nice, but my flex is Gibson and A-Rob, CMC, and Saquon at my RB.
I mean,
solid,
depends.
But top 3 waiver ads this week.
Mike Boone is up there. I would say Isaiah Pacheco is up there if he's still available. Although with both McCaffrey and Saquon, you don't need running backs. I would say, is Pickens, Gallup, Corey Davis. Look for those wide receivers. What was I going to say? Algier is very interesting for the short term. Mike Boone is very intriguing for the long haul. But again, it looks like you don't really need running backs because Gibson is a fine running back 3 when your running backs 1 and 2 are Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. Yeah. Is Pickens out there? Is Dortch still hanging out there?
Is Michael Gallup out there?
Is Gallup out there? Is Corey Davis out there? Those guys.
If you're looking for a running back that might sneak under people's radars while everybody's going out for Mike Boone, Tyler Algier, Brian Robinson, see if you can sneak a Raheem Mostert onto your squad for minimal fab.
Agreed. Yep. Agreed.
D. Linney. Yes.
D. Linney's helping out.
Yeah.
And we always
thank you, D. Linney.
We like this to keep we like this to be an interactive community. That's I think what maybe makes us a little different from other streams or other channels. We hope, we think, maybe. If anybody's got thoughts about anything, obviously we want to keep things. There's no need to, not that anybody's doing it, but today, which is awesome. But as long as we're keeping it civil and friendly, and at the end of the day, we're just helping each other out, we absolutely encourage that. So yeah, D. Linney, appreciate it. And yes, agreed. I'd rather have, I don't know about likely, but Jelani Woods, Bellinger, and Otten.
Bellinger for sure. Bellinger is already making more waves right now than Komet is.
Yeah.
One for one.
Yeah, Bellinger and Jelani Woods clear at this point. Hell, I do think I would rather take a stab at Isaiah Likely. I know you're not crazy about him. He hasn't done a ton so far. It's just like Cole Kmet is so bleh. Yeah, get Bateman, man.
Yeah, I'd rather have Jelani and Bellinger than Likely. I'd target both of those guys.
No question.
Target both of those guys.
Yeah,
but
Lincoln pull that
of
trigger.
The story is get out from Komet while you can.
Lincoln,
if you can get anything for him, a la Bateman, do it yesterday.
Pull that trigger. Absolutely pull that trigger.
And D. Linney helping out again. So there you go. Yeah, we like White and Pickens the most too.
So
we like White and Pickens the most too.
Still, as enticing as Boone is, the guys that you named, rather have them all than Boone. Rather have Rashad White. Rather have Pickens. Rather have Brian Robinson. Rather have Algier.
Yep.
Well, Algier in the short term. Boone has a little bit more of a long-term argument, but Rashad White, Brian Robinson, and George Pickens all clearly ahead of Mike
Lincoln,
Boone.
I'm glad you pulled the trigger. Your team just got a whole lot better.
Your team got much better, Lincoln.
Good job.
Congratulations, man. Nicely done. You should feel good about that. You absolutely should feel good about that.
And yes, Tamian, trading makes fantasy fun. Any transactions you can make in any sort of league you're in makes it fun. That's why we do it.
I mean, don't do it just to do it, but it does make it fun. It's an adrenaline rush. It makes it exciting.
Absolutely. Bambo.
Hey, no, we missed King Showtime.
Oh, snap, my bad.
Boone or Murray? Boone. Boone. Boone's been with the team. Boone's a little younger, fresher legs, probably a little more acclimated into the offense. Could Murray vulture some goal line work from not just Boone, but Melvin Gordon? Maybe a little bit, yeah. Murray might have his, a week or two, maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
If I want one of these guys, I'm going Boone, but I'm trying not to get either. I'm going Rashad White, Algier, Robinson, like we said earlier, ahead of both of those guys.
But if they're not available, then Boone over Murray.
Yes. Bambo, would you trade DJ Moore, Conklin, and Mooney for Pickens, Lockett, and Kenneth Walker? 12-man, full PPR, 3 flex.
Who's your other tight end? Bambo, who's your tight end?
It's kind of close for me.
Oh, I'm very interested in doing this. I just want to know who your tight end is that allows you that where it's I'm moving off of Conklin, because Conklin's been solid, more than solid. He's been rock solid. But I'm very interested in this, and I'm probably ready to say yes.
Pickens can at least match DJ Moore's output thus far with Pickett. Lockett has been better than Mooney thus far, and we don't expect that to get better for Mooney.
Yeah, I mean, he had a nice day last week.
Pickens and Moore is still edge DJ Moore because he has 4 years in the NFL of doing it.
No disrespect. I don't want. Yeah, no. Moore is a proven commodity in about as gross a situation as you can get outside of Chicago.
So edge DJ Moore there. Edge Lockett and Lockett v. Mooney, and between Conklin and Kenneth Walker, it really depends on the rest of your squad.
Yep.
That's why I'm kind of on the fence here.
Yep.
So let us know a little bit more about it before we make the decision here, but it's not a bad deal. it would be beneficial to know the full context before we say yes or no. Patrick, you're extremely high on Pitts. You just can't trust Atlanta's offense. That's where we're at right now. I'm also wondering, you don't like Edmonds v. the Jets this week?
I'm fine with Edmonds against the Jets. I think Edmonds and Mostert are both going to get a few more looks with a backup quarterback in. I feel like that's just like a natural thing that transpires when you have to pivot to a backup quarterback, especially one like Teddy, who is a check down god, which Chase Edmonds stock up. I'm not off Edmonds this week.
I'm not either.
If you're between
give
a couple
give
of
it one more week for me.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with Edmonds.
And yes, when you're stacking two players in the same offense at skill positions,
dicey. It is dicey.
Can hit one on 1 week, hit on the other guy on the next week. Even going Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like that's gonna happen to you. But if you can move, if you're making a trade, you didn't draft this way, but you're making a trade to make your team better and moving from a lesser option to a better option where you also have the other player in that offense is still a better option.
Yeah.
And there will be weeks when both fire. There will be weeks when A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both fire. So it's tough. You got to pick and choose, but having a wide receiver 1 and then the second tier option in a very good passing attack in your flex, you shouldn't be too worried about that.
Yep.
Now, if you drafted them to be your 1 and 2, then you're going to have an issue.
Right, but to move off of a guy who is just very difficult to trust right now anymore to a guy who's just in a much better offense, I hear you on the stacking. I grabbed Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs in a keeper league, and that so far has been kind of pulling teeth. But it's I'm gonna keep going back to that because it's a great offense, and that's where the Eagles are at right now.
Chuck, man, thank you very much for the 10 spot.
Chuck, thank you.
Very appreciate it. Glad you think highly of this channel.
Thank you, Chuck.
What's your fantasy outlook on Bailey Zappe the Zapper?
Zapdos.
I like that.
Zapdos,
Yes.
Bailey Zapdos.
There we go.
Yep.
Is it another Brady Bledsoe scenario? No.
Well,
no.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna go. I understand he's not comparing Zappe to Brady, but just the does Mac Jones, the first round pick, get supplanted by a guy who went undrafted? Right? Did Zappe go, or did Zappe get drafted?
I think he was
7th round or whatever,
something like that. But my answer is no.
Mac will go back to being the guy when he's healthy.
He was a 4,000-yard passer as a rookie. They're not going to move off of him, and who did very well in his first year. They're not going to move off of him after a 4-game stretch where he hasn't been as prolific as last year, in a 1-game, 2-game stretch where Zappe comes in and looks better than Hoyer.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now. It's great that Zappe looked decent in spot work, but that's kind of where I would leave it. Kind of like the Cooper Rush situation to a lesser extent, because Zappe hasn't won 4 straight games. When the starter comes back, the starter's the starter.
Yep.
That's not changing.
Yep.
But thank you very much for the 10 spot, Chuck.
Appreciate
much
that,
appreciated,
Chuck.
man.
Thank you. In a super flex league, if you're desperate, I mean,
there are worse options.
It's interesting. I mean, look at the matchup. They're playing Detroit. Detroit just gave up 48 points to Geno Smith.
This is why you roster backups to backups in superflex leagues.
Oh yeah. Bailey might he might use Thunderbolt on the Lions this week. Bailey Zapdos, baby. He's
like
just
that.
He's Zapdos, man.
Thunderstrike
Zapdos.
or whatever. Flash.
Thunderbolt.
Might
yeah,
use
he's
Flash.
Use Flash. Right. What does that decrease your accuracy?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jared Goff.
We're
not dorks. We never played Pokemon.
Not once.
Not
Fire
ever.
Red. What, huh?
Yeah.
What?
There's 2 new ones coming out. What?
And yo, Patrick, thank you very much for the I don't know. Thank you for the viewership.
The discourse.
And yeah, thank you for the comment there. Hey, I'm sorry that another stream is telling you to stop interacting with chatters. That's crazy.
I guess there's too many people that like to hear themselves talk. And look, I understand wanting to get points across that you feel like are important and necessary for the people to know.
Telling people
but also
to
that
stop,
stuff comes up organically when you have the conversation.
Telling
in the
people
first place.
that are viewing your channel to stop engaging with the channel actively is one of the dumbest things you can do as a content creator.
The point?
So yeah, that's
no.
I'm sorry they're telling you to do that. Come through to our channel. We're always gonna encourage conversation, discourse on these things, because we like to have conversations with you guys about these things. It's not just us telling you what to do. We want to have a little bit of a back and forth with you guys. That's what makes it fun for us.
Yeah. No, and then the points that we want to bring up come up organically from the questions that you have. And again, we know it can take, with our structure and our style and the way we do things, it can take a little while for us to get to things, get to questions, and we understand that obviously being patient is not always the most fun thing. But
that's also why we stream so much, so you're not
we
pressed.
do want to talk to you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
If we only streamed twice a week, that would be a whole lot worse than streaming 5 times a week, which is what we give y'all. So, yeah, man, we love interacting with you guys. That's the number one here. Secondary to that is trying to help everybody win their fantasy leagues. But at the end of the day, we just want to have fun with you guys talking fantasy. And that involves a two-way conversation, not just a one-way listen to us and or it's the highway type deal. So I'm glad you're chilling with us.
You lose out on the opportunity to make points by shutting people out, as far as I'm concerned. Because not everybody has the same situation. Not everybody has the same trade questions. Not everybody has the same options on the waiver wire. Every league is different. And to pigeonhole yourself by just pick up Tyler Algier, pick up Mike Boone. Well, what if those guys are already gone in super deep leagues? You never know.
That doesn't help anybody then who is asking the question, right?
Or it doesn't help smaller leagues. Like 18 leagues are probably not worrying about picking those guys up. Like, there's not a one size fits all. So yeah, appreciate it. Always happy to talk shop.
Absolutely. And Lincoln, I'm glad your team got better. There you go.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Nemo, trade offer. A guy wants to send you Judy for JD McKissick. Yeah. Do that.
Do that.
Do that. Yo, what are all these trades that are going down? I need to start monitoring the wire in my leagues.
Drunk.
Wow.
Some of y'all, yeah, absolutely, Nemo. Hell yeah.
Look at all these guys making good moves.
Yeah, you love to see it.
Patrick, Hines and Lindsey might be good plays this week if Taylor doesn't play on a short week. Your thoughts? And is it too early to stash Jameson Williams or Tyquan Thornton, the kid from New England?
It's too early to worry about Thornton.
Yes.
But it's not too early to worry about JMO.
No.
It's not too early to stash JMO because from the, I didn't see an official report, but from what I saw on Twitter,
the return is
it could be after the week 6 bye.
Yeah.
It could be after the week 6 bye. So yeah, we're stashing Jameson Williams. Thornton
it's better to be a week early than a week late on these things.
Oh, without question.
So yeah, stash Jameson Williams. In terms of Hines and Lindsey, I'm much more apt to go towards spot starting Hines than Lindsey. I just can't get behind Philip Lindsay.
It is a revenge game for Philip Lindsay.
I almost don't care.
I always just love to point that out. It is a revenge game for Philip Lindsay playing against the Broncos, the team who not only, I only know this because I'm constantly on Twitter, not only was the Broncos Philip Lindsay's first opportunity in the NFL, but Philip Lindsay is from Denver. He is from the Denver area. So if you're desperate, Patrick, then sure, but over any Melvin Gordon or Philip Lindsay, it's Melvin Gordon. Now, where you could potentially have an argument is Tyler Algier or Philip Lindsay, because Algier's going up against that tough Bucs defense on the road.
I'd rather have Algier.
Yeah? I don't know. Okay.
Lindsay hasn't had over 42 total yards
for 3 years.
Going back to the 2020 season.
Yeah, so almost 3 years, 3 NFL.
I'm not getting back on the Lindsay bandwagon just for a 1-week injury. Hines, yes, and it's okay to stash Jameson Williams.
Melvin Gordon or Nyheim Hines? I think I gotta go Gordon.
Yes.
I think I gotta go Gordon.
MJ Woozy traded Mike Williams and Carson Wentz for James Robinson, Drake London, and Ramondre Stevenson. Look at all these trades.
Nice.
Look at all these trades.
Look,
yes.
I love Mikey Dubs. I guess MJ Woozy, I don't know if you dropped maybe you didn't drop to your other receivers in the chat. I don't know if depending on who your other receivers are, but I'm assuming this is this one quarterback or super flex? Either way, that's a great haul. You got two guys with high-end RB2 upside and will have their RB1 weeks. And Drake London looks like a high upside wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 potential on a weekly basis type of dude. So a little extra context would help here, MJ Woozy. Like, who are your other receivers, and is this super flex?
I'm almost
I like the trade.
I'm fine with it.
I just want to know. That's all. But I like the trade.
And we are 3.5 hours into this, so I do want a rapid fire because it's approaching like 9:30 here.
Yeah, it is getting late.
Yeah. So let's again, we keep saying it. Let's rapid fire these, but let's actually rapid fire these.
We got another super from Bambo.
Bambo, much appreciated. Ayuk for DJ Moore. You also have Debo.
Man,
I think it's a lateral move.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a win or a loss. That's kind of just a lateral move. You have Debo, so I might wait for better days from DJ Moore.
Yeah, this is an offense. This is a passing attack where it's like, yeah, now I'm like, okay, I'm not as crazy about stacking this offense, this passing attack. I think, yeah, I might just keep DJ Moore. Debo is the yak monster. Ayuk is getting the targets. There's no doubt. And obviously Jimmy boosts the floor of Jimmy G boosts the floor of every receiver, every pass catcher. But we don't hold the 49ers offense in the same vein, in the same light that we do as the Bills, as the Eagles, as the Bucks. I would agree that I think in this scenario, I do like Ayuk, but because you have Debo, I would probably, let's see if we can get a little bit more out of DJ Moore.
And you should be able to.
Or we stack the 49ers. Yeah.
At least it moved in the right direction with him getting 11 targets. Maybe next week he can punch one into the end zone, and his box score looks a little bit more sellable coming off of the Week 5 game. Yeah. But I would wait. And Nemo, I can't advocate for Kylie Granson 2 touchdowns Week 2. But that's a solid prop bet you could try to go for. If it happened, you'd win big. And yeah, Patrick, we've seen some fleeces.
There's some.
It must be getting towards the winter months. We're seeing some fleeces.
We're seeing some panic buttons being pushed, I think, by some people. But yeah. And then Bambo, you just to go back up to that trade where you were giving up Conklin Moore and you were getting Lockett, right? And who else were you? I think because you have I remember liking the options that you had. Since I think you have Muth, I think you can give up Conklin. Yeah, I think I would do the deal.
Yep.
I think I would do the deal. So yeah, there's a couple trades there's a trade that you should make the first one, and then there's a trade you should hold off and not do, and just, include DJ Moore in the other trade, not for Brandon Ayuk.
But if you have any more trades to run by us while we're not on air, join our Discord, throw them in the Discord, and we can help you out with that too. Nemo, good luck on that Zombie League research.
Do it.
SPD, is it good I traded Kamara and Penny for JT? You already have Fournette and Stevenson.
Sure.
Solid.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. Kamara's a little hard to try. Kamara feels like a good guy to try to go get, but if the guy you can get is Jonathan Taylor, who is younger, not as banged up, even though he might miss the Thursday game, but that's okay. In probably a slightly better situation than Kamara. I know Penny just fired against a bad Lions defense.
I think it's a good deal.
I think it's a good
deal. Good deal. Consolidating options to get a better starter option. Good deal. And Nemo, that's the name of the game. That's
the name of
the game we play.
Play Nyheim Hines.
Yay! Is Kanye in here? Trade MT for Godwin. You already have Olave.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes. Get Godwin. Yeah. Michael Thomas is hard to trust now coming off the injury. And it's a bad Saints offense. Olave I love to have, but yes, get Godwin. Absolutely.
And Patrick, I would agree. Yeah. Just go for the better player and then worry about having two players from the same offense later down the road. once you have Smith on your team that has A.J. Brown, then move from a position of strength to another position of strength. And yeah, sometimes you got to look at trades as twofold and not just a one-off.
And then I just want to get to Chuck, because Chuck provided a super. I just want to get to his follow-up really quick, and then we'll get to Greg's question. It's just that Brady won 7 Super Bowls and is now going down as the GOAT. I can't possibly put Zappy in the same, like, I can't.
And Bledsoe had a long, storied career with the Patriots, and they let him go in, I believe, his age 35 season. So it's a little difficult to compare Drew Bledsoe to Mac Jones in his second year, coming off a 4,000-yard rookie season, to Bledsoe, who had 12 years in the league, and they were offloading him for contractual considerations at the time.
And this team is not as talented top to bottom as that Patriots team was. No. That defense was really good. This defense is not like a typical Belichick defense, at least not so far.
Yeah, I mean, if Mac Jones was 15 years into his career and Bailey Zappi was coming in behind him like that, we could have a little bit more of a conversation about it. But I honestly don't think it's a fair comparison at all.
Start first. He's going to get a good hey, this is about as good an opportunity as it comes going up against the Lions defense, but just not ready to go there. I don't know that history strikes twice here.
Yeah, and again, want to go rapid fire here. Sorry if our answers aren't as thorough as they were earlier on, but nature of the beast, we're 3.5 hours in. It happens. Greg Z. PPR, you have JT Lenny, Herbert, Robinson from Washington, and ETN, Algier, Boone, and Penny are all available. What moves do you guys think I should make? Honestly,
Herbert for Penny.
I'd be dropping Washington or Robinson for Penny. Herbert has a 20-plus point week, and is the number 1 right now. Robinson is the number 2 at best.
Could take over, but I think I would rather Herbert. I would move Washington to get Penny, who's the number 1 right now. I'm all about having number 1s now on my squad. Drop Robinson for Penny. Yeah, that's fine. And then trade Penny, and then go back and get Robinson.
Jacob, Clip as a Whiskey, what's happening? Got CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, D-Hop, Drake London, but only have CMC and Swift. Any ideas on trades?
I mean, you could try to. I mean, you could. It depends on your situation. If you're 4-0 or 3-1, and you can afford to wait on D-Hop, maybe trade Drake London for an RB2. If you're in a situation where you can't wait on Hopkins anymore, maybe trade Hopkins to someone who's willing to wait on Hopkins. Again, for an RB2. Hold AJ, hold CD, hold Higgins, hold Godwin.
Agreed. Carl Bain, would you take the package of Freiermuth and ETN or Pitts and Pollard? Trading Pierce to get a good tight end, got running back depth to make the move. CMC, Barkley, Herbert, and Stevenson.
So I would not trade Pierce if you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I'd rather have Pierce than Stevenson because he doesn't have a guy waiting in the wings to take half of the workload over him. I'd rather have him than Herbert.
I would see if I can get Freiermuth and ETN, or could you keep Pollard and do Freiermuth and ETN for Pitts? Try to hoard running backs like weapons during the zombie apocalypse. That's what I always refer to when it comes to running backs during redraft season. Hoard them like you like weapons that will eventually run out of ammunition. So if you can keep as many as possible, I'm okay with that. If they're wasting away on your bench, scoring a bunch of points on your bench, then let them rot.
But Freiermuth is more of a target for me as far as the tight end goes than Pitts is right now.
Yeah.
But don't trade Pierce to get one. Pierce is a guy that you should continue to roll out there. When is Jameson Williams coming back? Signs lies. We're not sure, but the rumblings are it's getting sooner than later. Nick speculated it could be week 7, week 8, right?
Week 8. It was week 7, week 8, week 9. It sounds like he's not far of return, like off as far as shortly after the Lions bye week, which is week 6.
And Mike Boone or Isaiah Pacheco pick up on the waiver wire. I mean, they're both in the same tier for me. It's up to you, I think.
Pacheco's going to be cheaper, I think.
Pacheco's going to be cheaper. Mike Boone will have a larger workload, but he'll be playing in a worse offense.
I think I say Pacheco. To that point. I think I say Pacheco because one, a lesser waiver priority should get it done for Pacheco versus Boone, and Pacheco's attached to Patrick Mahomes.
Boom. Agreed. The Patrick Haas, you have Diggs, A.J. Brown, and Jefferson. With Bateman on my bench, is it absurd to stash Jameson Williams if it means dropping Elijah Moore?
I wouldn't drop Elijah Moore. I would float his name if you really, if you're ready to cut ties. Actually, no, I would hold Elijah Moore. Let's see if his value can come back up now that Zach Wilson is back in the mix. I know he didn't fire with Zach Wilson last year, but also Zach Wilson is in year 2. Elijah Moore is in year 2. Natural progression. They take steps forward. Let Elijah Moore I would give it another week or 2 to see if Elijah Moore can get his value back up before I try to move on from him. This is not an Allen Robinson situation. Moore is still 22 years old and can still get better.
We're forgetting how good Elijah Moore was last season. I wouldn't
drop him.
I wouldn't drop him either. On the speculation that Jameson Williams is going to be great, when we've seen now that Amon-Ra St. Brown's a target hog in this offense. So it's not like he just comes in and Jameson Williams becomes the target hog. Yeah. So, though I do like Jameson Williams upside. Bambo, 3 flex, by the way, got DJ Moore, Dubs, and Pollard in the flex.
All right. This okay? I remember liking that first. If this is like a off of the trade request or the trade questions, I still like the first move. Unloading DJ Moore and Conklin because you have Freiermuth. But Dubs and Pollard are perfectly fine weekly options. I know Pollard did nothing last week, but I'm willing to go back to the well with him. And Dubs looks like a weekly flex play.
Yeah, he's not. I'm not going to call him a must start, but a weekly flex play for sure. Jacob got CD. I think we got this one already.
We got
Sotober, start 2. Kirk, Pierce, Hollywood, Javonte Williams, or Jamal Williams. Jamal, I guess, and Devontae Smith. That's tough.
Yeah, Sotober, I would say let's come back to the start-sit questions on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. This week there's another London game, so Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. When we're a little closer to the slate, I think the start-sit questions will come into a little bit more focus. And I did see you just joined the Discord, so first of all, welcome. Second of all, I can try to answer that for you tonight. I'll think about it.
But in the Discord, throw in the format, the scoring, all that stuff, because that matters in a situation where you're playing. You have to start 2 out of 5 where all 5 are viable. So let us know the format and stuff before we answer the question, but throw it into the Discord for sure. Thank you for joining the Discord. Thank you for the question. Sign lies. We already said Isaiah Pacheco here.
Got that one.
Derek 2. Who should I start in my flex? Jamal Williams, Melvin Gordon, Chris Olave, Gabe Davis, or Adam Thielen? I think it's Jamal Williams.
I was good. I mean, it depends.
Jamal Williams was the RB6 last week.
Yeah, if DeAndre Swift is out, then Jamal. Is he? And I think he is going to be out for one more week. So yeah, Jamal Williams. It's a lot of really strong options.
Yeah, it is.
But Jamal Williams.
No, 23 points in back-to-back weeks with the minimal Swift.
Right.
So if Swift misses again, is he going to get 23 points again? No, but he's going to have another closer to ceiling week. So.
And they're not winning games, but this offense is playing well.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
What is James Conner worth? Asks Terrence. Should I try to trade him?
I mean, you're going to get pennies on the dollar.
You're trading low. Hold him until he has a better
I would
week.
just hold. Even if you don't need the running back depth, you're not going to get anywhere close to the value where you drafted him at. Just hang on to him.
And Patrick, much appreciated.
Yeah, appreciate
We
Appreciate
echo
the
that
support.
sentiment, and you throw your question in the chat once, and we will get to it. It just might
Promise
take
we'll
us a
get
little
to
bit
it.
longer if are if there's a lot of people in the chat, which there usually are. So thank you for your patience, but also thank you, Patrick, for throwing that reminder out there.
A little bit of moderator
Lincoln,
status over here.
do you think that Romeo is the guy in Green Bay?
I mean,
No, he is
Lazard
a guy
is the
in
guy.
Green Bay.
Lazard is the guy in Green Bay, but Romeo is a weekly flex play in at this point in 10-team leagues. I think he's a weekly flex play. Maybe not in shallower 8-man leagues. Dubs probably is not going to crack your starting lineup, but as soon as small as 10-team leagues, he's in the flex conversation every week now.
Yep.
Until further notice. If he catches that second touchdown, if he hangs on to that ball, I mean, we're talking about his value being absolutely through the roof.
Number one pickup over Mike Boone.
And he wasn't far off from making that catch too. So yeah. I mean, he looks good. He looks good.
We are at the bottom of the chat here. Thank you to everybody who chilled with us today. Thanks, for chilling with us for this longer stream, bearing with us in terms of patience if you are waiting long for your answer. Again, to echo Patrick's sentiments, it does take a little bit longer to answer every question because we do go in depth, but you just got to be patient. We will get to every single one. Jake Cross Country, real quick. Would you guys go Dubs or Lazard over Bateman rest of season PPR?
No. It's a little close.
If it's a guy, it'd be
no.
Lazard over Bateman, but I would still play Bateman at least for the next few weeks until we see a little bit more about how the whole season works out.
Yeah.
I would not sell high on Dubs.
Hang on to him because I don't really even know what a sell high is for Romeo Dubs. I don't think you're going to get an RB2 for him at this point.
No.
Or another like maybe wide receiver 2 who's a little bit more of a proven player.
I think he's the type of guy where at this point in time, you're not going to get better for him than the production you're getting from him.
So like just hold and congratulate yourself for the strong depth that you created for yourself.
And you say you're saying you're weak on wide receiver. All the more reason to keep him.
Then keep him because Keenan Allen will come back soon, and then Romeo becomes your wide receiver 3 or 4. I would just hang on to him.
But
you're not going to get a Devontae Smith or somebody like that for Romeo Dubs. No. You're probably not. I mean, if you can, then all right, maybe do that. But I'm going to assume you can't.
Always check to see what's out on the trade block because you never know what you don't know.
Sure.
But don't be actively trying to trade Dubs right now with that roster. But thank you very much for everybody again for the questions. Thanks for chilling. We will be back, or Nick will be back here tomorrow. I will be back here Thursday. I'm also doing a Friday night stream because we missed out on the Thursday stream last week. We were planning on doing it, missed out on it last week. So Friday this week, there is going to be a little bit of a shorter public stream with just me. Nick, you can join if you want to, but no pressure there because I'm just filling in for a stream that I missed. But we will be back pretty much every week for the rest of the week. Every day for the rest of the week. Wednesday, members only stream with Nick. Thursday, members only stream with me. Friday, public stream with me, impromptu, but we're going to be out there. Saturday, public stream, 6 p.m. EST. Start sit. All your start sit questions will be answered there. And then Sunday at the normal time, 10 a.m. EST. We will be back 3 hours before kickoff.
There is a London game.
Of the regular games. We will be streaming during the London game. So if you want your fantasy questions answered, tune into that Monday morning game. Put it on mute. Throw us on with the volume on, and we can help y'all out. But thank you very much for all your questions. Real quick before we sign off.
No, Legacy, I would not do that deal.
No,
I wouldn't do that deal. Andrews and Pittman, really good. Jamar Chase and Mike Williams have been our guys that you can count on as high-end, wide receiver 1 upside on a week-to-week basis. I know Andrews is that dude, but that's a lot of receiver depth to give up. I would not do that trade.
And Derek, I do think that James Robinson will keep doing good.
Yep.
I don't think that ETN will start to take over. I think it's James Robinson's backfield.
It's James Robinson. Yep. It's his backfield. Yep. Missed on that one. coming into the season. But it is what it is.
And yo, Lincoln, I like you going 2 tight ends there, 2 tight ends strong, tight end heavy, a floor of 60, solid. I hope that bodes well for you. But yeah, everybody, thank you for chilling. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Nick will see you tomorrow. I'll see you the next day.
I'll see the members on Wednesday.
Before kickoff, at the very least, on one of these streams coming up in the next few days. But have a great night. Thanks for chilling. And peace, y'all.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Go win some more trades.